Welcome back to Marvel Good Yay, the spin-off of the Geek Easy Podcast, where we're going back to watch all of the MCU films to talk about them. I'm Pixel Dan.
I'm just so happy.
Yeah.
And I'm Jerry McCaffrey.
I'm ready to do this, guys. I'm wearing my Endgame shirt tonight for all of our viewers here. It's I'm not taking this off until after I see
until
Endgame.
After Endgame.
This is just
dedicated.
the shirt I'm wearing now. Yep.
It's dedicated.
I'm fine with it.
We are in the week of.
That's right. We're going to bang out these next 3 episodes like day to day here because we're doing Infinity War today. We're doing Ant-Man and Wasp tomorrow. We're following that up with Captain Marvel. And then Avengers Endgame will be in theaters and we'll all be watching it and we'll be feeling all the emotions, I'm sure. We'll be happy. We'll be crying. We'll be everything. But I'm excited.
Look at me when you said that.
I just feel like...
we know. We know that you're the crier.
Does anybody else feel like... I just feel like movies are going to end after Endgame. Like I feel like Dr. Manhattan and there's like the Endgame tachyon field that I just can't see beyond. I can't imagine there being... I know there's going to be movies.
Yeah.
But I just can't imagine there being movies after Endgame.
It's crazy how... we've spent the last more than a decade at this point building up to this.
Right.
And there has never really been anything else like this as far as movies go. Like, even when you think about the big movie franchises...
Abbott and Costello versus the Wolfman.
Okay.
That had Dracula and Frankenstein in it.
Was there a decade of build-up to that movie, or did that just happen?
Probably at least, man. They did all those...
Okay, but like...
Did Abbott and Costello meet 22 monsters?
There was all the Universal movies, and then Abbott and Costello met all of them, and then there was one Abbott and Costello movie with all of them in them.
That's pretty awesome.
Please just answer the question.
They just did it. They did it first.
Did they meet 22 monsters? I don't think they met 22 monsters.
I rest my case.
Okay.
I just think about like all the other big important franchises like in our lifetimes. Yep. Like, Star Wars is obviously a big one.
Yep.
But like, they've basically had these isolated little trilogies, and it's not the same thing as what this is. Yeah. We've had trilogies. Trilogies have always been a big thing. You got the Back to the Future trilogy, or you've got like the Terminator films, which but like nothing has really done what these movies have done, where they've built this cohesive universe.
Not even the Fast and the Furious.
Right. They've come
trying.
pretty close. It's definitely trying.
Right?
And succeeding better than most.
Yeah. It's just amazing to me that, in 2008, we started this journey, not even knowing we were starting this journey.
Yeah. Right.
And we're at this point now where, we have just basically, this giant chunk of our lives have been following these characters.
Well, and it's been a total cultural shift, too.
Yeah.
In 2008, when Iron Man came out, right? It was still nerd stuff.
Yeah.
Now not only is nerd stuff mainstream, but comic, the Marvel universe is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's not just that there's a bunch of nerds that are all going to see it.
Yeah.
Nerds, geeks, whatever. It's that everybody is going to see these movies.
Right. I want to say it's changed the landscape of filmmaking as a whole, but really it's just added. Nobody's been able to recreate it, even close. So it's attempted to change the filming landscape. Like, every studio is attempting to follow suit.
Right.
Just most of them stall right out of the gate.
Right.
I say we do have. The Fast and Furious movies continue to be successes, but they're not the same thing.
Right.
They haven't built an interconnected world and tried to collide it. But we've had, notably, DC has tried this and not done very successful at it. They've had some movies that have made some money, but nobody's loved them the way they love these movies,
Universal.
Yeah, Universal stalled right out of the gate.
Boy, yeah.
They're always talking about, they talked about immediately doing those Transformers movies, and they were going to expand that world into the G.I. Joes and
the Micronauts
and all that. And it's all just, then they stopped being able to get Transformers movies that people actually liked watching. And again, they were still making money, but they knew they didn't have the fan base behind it to continue to just push this stuff. So it's just all sort of started and stopped everywhere. So you would think there'd be 10 of these by now, as long as this has existed.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like it's a very complicated formula, but man, old Hollywood just cannot figure it out.
Right.
And it's sort of like, it's sad but hilarious to watch.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into Infinity War, which was basically like the beginning of Endgame, right? It's like part one. And it really does feel like it's the start of the end of this whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a big movie. This was the biggest of all the crossovers, because we've seen throughout the journey here, we've seen the characters come together, but this is the first time we've really seen all of the characters from the MCU really unite for a cause. It's really cool stuff.
And this was originally marketed as Infinity War Part 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Marvel did that thing years ago where they basically laid out like their next 4 or 5 years worth of movies.
Right.
And this is what it was supposed to be, the culmination point. And it was going to be a two-parter. Then there was a lot of complaining about the two-parters, which to this date hasn't really worked that well. I mean, they did it with...
None of them.
No, they did it with Harry Potter movies, which, again... successful because people will buy tickets out of obligation,
right?
But that,
well, I think Harry Potter didn't quite get the flack also because it was the first one.
Yeah, exactly.
So and
it made one really boring movie.
Yes,
and I will say, like I said, I saw Seven Part 1 the first time and hated it. I've seen it since then and I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But it clearly lacks what all of, it is. Acts 1 and 2 are pretty boring when they're your whole movie.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Mocking the Hunger Games, the Mockingjay did it, and really hurt the second one's box office because the first one was so bad.
Yeah,
I never even saw the second one, and I liked that series.
They did that with
Same here. I never saw the second one.
Yeah,
they did it with the
Twilights,
which was also terrible.
Yep, they split The Hobbit into 3 movies,
which was one book.
Yeah, which was one book shorter than any of the Lord of the Rings books. They did all that stuff, and again, even when they make money, they get a lot of flack for just the stretching out. And so pretty quickly, Marvel decided, well, I mean, this is... And they did that creative thing where they're like, well, we marketed as that, but we really decided these were 2 independent movies.
Right.
That's what we decided. This is 4 years ago. You hadn't fully written it yet. You decided to do it better.
Yeah.
And thank you.
For sure.
Yeah. But...
well, they were also never... I mean, even if it had been... Infinity War Part 1 and Infinity War Part 2, they were still not working from one story.
Yes.
Where Infinity War would have been like a movie sequel situation more than where all those other ones are one story and you get the first part, in one movie and the second part in another movie.
Yeah.
This would never have been that anyway.
Yeah,
so.
that's true.
And I believe that.
Yeah.
So they just marketed it better, I
guess.
Yeah.
Well, all those other movies removed the option to market it that way.
Exactly.
So they were like, it's not that. It's not. It was never that. It was never. It was never that.
So, but again, early on, they decided to start separating these as 2 separate movies, and so now instead we get 2 Marvel movies that came out in the middle of this bookended story.
Yeah.
But there is to my understanding, there is a lot of separation. One, Infinity War here is a complete story, beginning, middle, end.
Yeah.
There's nothing more to it. There will be a follow-up story, but like you said, that's more like Back to the Future 2 as opposed to one entire story spread apart the 2. So we got the financials, which I don't actually have any information on the production budget for this one. But I do have what it brought in, which is hefty. $678 million domestic, $1.369 billion foreign, for a worldwide total of $2.048 billion.
My goodness.
4th highest grossing movie of all time. 2nd highest Disney movie of all time, behind The Force Awakens. 2nd highest non-James Cameron movie of all time, because 1 and 2 were still Avatar and Titanic. Oddly, 2nd highest domestic grossing Marvel movie, though. Black Panther made more in the U.S.
Wow.
Yeah, but worldwide, this made about $500 million more, I think. I think Black Panther was around either 1.3 or 1.5, so 5 to 700 million more worldwide that this made. So definitely a cultural phenomenon. Really makes me excited to see what
Endgame does.
Really does,
man,
yeah. It's harder for longer movies to make money, so the extra half an hour may end up causing a factor there. However, this is already a pretty long movie.
I was going to say.
I mean, this is 236 or something like that.
Yeah.
And harder for, I mean, like you said, this is 10 years and 22 movies worth of culmination.
Right.
If Infinity War made this much, I have to assume Endgame's going to be even better.
Yep.
And it's blowing every record out of the water as far as pre-sales and stuff like that
right.
go.
I mean, we know the trouble everybody was having trying to order tickets for that movie, which I feel like is not a thing that typically happens for people trying to buy tickets for movies. Like,
yeah, I mean, the AMC website crashed repeatedly. Fandango never crashed because they saw it coming enough to put up these weird waiting rooms that no one would ever see, but it basically changed the way movie tickets are pre-sold for events like this. And I even read an article because I was a little upset on ticket buying day and still am because of the way that went down.
The internet was upset that day.
Well,
I saw so much of it.
You know, and I know it's circumstantial. I can't blame the theaters. I can't blame Fandango. And I even saw an article where Fandango was basically saying, look, we couldn't spend an obscene amount of money for 6 hours worth of business. We had to think of something else. So they did the waiting room thing. My problem, the thing that made me so upset, was there were 3 different occasions where I got seats reserved and went to pay for them because it was my turn in line, and it stalled out on the paying portion and ended up kicking me out. And I lost those seats 3 different times and didn't end up getting the show times I wanted because of it.
Right.
So, but I mean, there's absolutely nothing you can do.
Yeah.
When something like this happens,
Yeah.
even if you see it coming, you know, like they said, they can't spend $1 billion to fix 6 hours worth of work. It's just how it's going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So, box office on this thing is going to be bananas, though.
But
we're not here to talk about Endgame.
We're not here to talk about
Endgame. We're here to talk about Infinity War.
That's right.
I'm here to have my words in order.
I have an idea.
Okay.
I think if we all just start shouting all the parts that we liked, and just all at the same time, just over each other. You know what I mean? Just
is that what we're gonna do?
Well, yeah. I mean, and I think if we do it that way, we'll be able to get out of here in under 2 hours. So.
Oh my God.
I assumed you just wanted us to do our best live impression of the internet.
All right. So, Infinity War.
I liked the parts with Spider-Man. And I liked the parts with Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Are we doing
John's
this or
going
not?
for this.
Yeah. Maybe we'll try. If we hit the 2 hour mark, we'll just finish off like that.
You tricked me. Now I look like an idiot.
I mean, I didn't have to try very hard.
All of our subscribers
But all of our
are going to
subscribers
turn on me.
They're gonna turn on you.
All right, so Infinity War opens up essentially where we left the Asgardians in Thor Ragnarok.
How sad does this movie make the ending of Thor Ragnarok?
I know, it does. Well, because the post-credit scene in Thor Ragnarok was them running into Thanos' ship.
Yeah.
So this movie basically starts initially right after that.
But even that, when the post-credit sequence happens, you're just like, oh no, this might be trouble. But, I mean, you just went through all this revelation of, Asgard doesn't really matter. We've saved our people. It's not a place. It is the people, and you saved them, and everything's great now, and all is well. And then you find out that a week later, they're all dead.
Well, we don't know if they're all dead. It definitely feels that way in this, but you realize that there's a bunch of people missing that we never even see here, right? Because Valkyrie's not here, Korg and Meek aren't here, so you have to wonder if there was like
escape pods,
like an abandoned ship kind of thing, and a good chunk of them left, and just the people that stayed to fight are the people that are laying dead.
Did the majority of the population of Asgard survive though?
I don't know.
I mean, that's a lot of escape pods.
We'll find out. I mean, it was a big ship.
If they want to make more Thor movies, they did.
Right.
So, everybody's dead. This is where we get introduced to Thor and his minions, his group.
Thanos
and his minions.
Thanos and the Black Order.
Yeah. Yes, the Black Order.
Well, Thor and his minions are there too.
Thor and his minions are there.
It's just that his minions are Loki and the Hulk and Heimdall. Yeah.
Cole Obsidian. I'm trying to name them all. I know most of them. Cole Obsidian,
Proxima
Midnight,
Corvus Blade, and the Ebony Maw.
Yeah, Ebony Maw.
Yep, that's them. Very cool.
Who was so awesome.
He is awesome. Yeah. He's great.
I loved that character.
So they're there with Thanos, and they're hunting down an Infinity Stone. They've got Thor kind of defeated here, and that's where they're asking Thor where the Infinity Stone is, the Tesseract. They're asking for the Tesseract. They're asking for the Tesseract, and he's like, the Tesseract's not here; it's on Asgard, and Asgard's gone. Asgard's burned to the ground or whatever. And then Loki reveals that he has it, and I love it because Thor's just like,
"You really are the worst.
You really are the worst." Yeah.
Well, I love the introduction to Thanos.
Yeah.
I think it really sort of encapsulates his character very well in this opening, because the first thing he's saying there is, I've been in your place. I know what it's like to feel so strongly that you're right and to lose anyway. Mm-hmm. And this guy who we are, kind of aware, and they've talked about him, in the in the Guardians, they've called him the most powerful being in the universe and stuff like that.
Right. Right.
So like to introduce him right off the bat as this guy who's kind of lamenting about his his own losses, and almost trying to empathize with somebody he's in the process of slaughtering. I think that's just a great.
He speaks as someone who's been humbled.
Yes, yes, and I think that's just kind of a great way to introduce this character.
Mm-hmm. Totally. We get the great scene where Loki gets to say, "We have a Hulk," and Hulk comes rushing out of nowhere, and we get the Hulk Thanos fight. Which is one of the first instances we've ever seen Hulk just get his butt handed to him.
Schooled, man.
Just totally schooled, right? Because Thanos just doesn't even look like he has to try to fight. Like he hits Hulk, and Hulk has that realization, like, whoa, that hurt. Yeah. Like he kind of reacts to it, like he couldn't believe that he got punched.
And he's stronger than Hulk. He pulls his hands off his shoulders.
Yeah. It's crazy. So he pummels Hulk down to the ground and makes easy work of him, which is crazy. We've never seen that through any of these movies.
Mm-hmm. So at this point, Thanos has the Power Stone.
Right. He opens the movie with which is the stone from the Guardians movies.
Right.
So
that was on Xandar.
He's already decimated Xandar, basically. Took out the Nova Corps.
Yeah.
Stole the stone from them, and that's where he started here.
So, but they don't say explicitly, how much do we think the Power Stone, the Power Gem, has to do with him just schooling Hulk?
That's what I mean.
He doesn't blast him with it,
right?
I
mean, my assumption is that the reason he's having such an easy time is because he has an Infinity Stone.
Yeah,
like that would make sense, right? Yeah. So, and it's the Power Stone of all stones, so he makes him stronger. So that's why I think he was able to do it, and I think that's just what we're supposed to assume from that. Like, we know he's got the stone at this point, and he's already a force to be reckoned with, and he's got one stone. Because they do say that throughout the movie. Like, imagine what it's going to be like when he gets all the stones. Like, he's already got these stones, and he's able to do this.
They say it right in that scene. The Maw says something when they get the Space Stone. Is the Tesseract, right?
Yeah.
When they get the Space Stone, the Maw says to him, what being has ever had the power to yield not one but two Infinity Stones?
Yeah.
And so it's the fact that he can even carry around one of them and use its power, and he's on a quest to get all of them. You can get a feeling of the upgrade, just stone to stone that he's going through.
Right. It's pretty crazy when he grabs the Tesseract and crushes it.
Yeah.
After we've seen the Tesseract have such an important role through all of these movies. Like, that thing has always popped back up. It even pops back up again later in Captain Marvel. But like, we watch him just take that and crush it. So the Tesseract is gone, and he pulls the stone out of the middle of it and puts it in his gauntlet. But that was just one of the things that kind of hit me this time. Yeah. Like, I was just like, man, after watching all these movies through and realizing how important the Tesseract has been throughout all of these movies, and there it is, it's gone. Mm. It is gone now. It's been destroyed by Thanos.
Basically the thing that held together all the threads of the first phase one.
Basically. Loki maintains his face role and attempts to fight off Thanos.
Dude, he tries to stab him with that knife. Like, I mean,
last ditch effort. What are you gonna do?
Last ditch effort, but like, come on, Loki. Yeah. like you had a knife. Like, you just watched the Hulk get smashed. But you're gonna stab him with this knife,
right?
All right.
Which
made me laugh.
He's used to that stuff working,
I guess.
That's true. His little trickster stuff usually works out for him for the most part with that. But Thanos just picks him up by the throat and crushes him.
Yeah.
And that's pretty sad. Do we think that's the end of Loki? I
think he's got a TV show coming.
Oh, is that something that they've talked about for Disney Plus?
Oh, that's on Disney Plus. Yeah, I thought we've talked about that.
So do we think that's going to be something set before all of this?
I would assume.
I think so.
I feel like he's dead right now.
You feel like he's dead?
I feel like he's dead.
That was the end of Loki?
That's pretty definitive.
Yeah.
I mean, he turns purple.
Yeah,
and
Well, Thor even goes over to touch him to see if he's really there, and he is. And
it
kind of has that moment where oh my God, my brother's
dead. That's the
dead.
thing, is if he's not actually dead, he's just floating in space right
now. That's true. Yeah, it kind of sucks opening up this movie with the death
murders
of Loki.
Heimdall right there too.
Oh yeah, well Heimdall before Heimdall gets murdered, he sends Hulk to Earth with the Bifrost, and that's why Thanos gets mad at him and murders him because he's basically like, you shouldn't have done that, and that was the end of Heimdall. That. Yeah. So that sucks, man. Yeah, this movie opens up hard. We lose Loki, we lose Heimdall, we lose these characters that we've been so attached to for all these movies. Even Heimdall, it's just no, not Heimdall. Come on.
That's what I was going. I remember I texted you guys that little synopsis because I was rewatching Ragnarok and I was thinking about it. I'm like, man, 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 1,500 years of Thor's life, and in just this basically 10 years, which would be the blink of an eye in this guy's life,
Thanos?
No, Thor.
Thor, okay, yeah.
He's fallen in love, he's lost his love.
Oh, yeah.
He's lost both parents. He's lost 2 siblings, one of them 3 times. He had to kill the other one himself. He's lost 4 of his 5 best friends. We have no idea where Sif is. All of his best friend, or Heimdall there, he just watched him and Loki get murdered right in front of him. Thor's a pretty happy-go-lucky character. You forget how tragic everything that happens to him in these movies is.
Yeah, really.
That dude's having a bad day.
Right. Yeah, no kidding. Oof. So rough way to open this movie, but really kind of just sets the pace for the whole thing. It sets the tone. It shows you how serious this is. Really, I mean, we've talked about how we feel like a lot of the villains have been pretty strong and pretty good villains, and I feel like this just really shows you how high the bar has been raised with Thanos. Why he's been the threat that's been basically pulling the puppet strings through this whole thing, right? So it's good stuff.
From a acting standpoint, I don't know when the best time to bring this up is, but playing a big purple CGI monster, usually you don't get this kind of range. Mm-hmm. I'm really impressed, not only with Josh Brolin, but with the artists that brought this character to life. Because, Thanos looks like Thanos, but he also looks like Josh Brolin. You know, he's got that, and you get such, you get pain through this role. Mm-hmm. You get the determination through this role. He is not just a cartoon character.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I have never seen a CG character anything anywhere near like this from a perspective of just emotion and the performance you get out of the actor mixed with the people who are actually putting him on screen. It is just amazing to watch. And you get a touch of that right here. Yep. And then it does not falter at all through this entire 2.5-hour journey, which is really, this is the Thanos movie.
Yeah.
Everybody else is a side character. This is his film.
Yeah, totally. So we're on Earth. Hulk crashes into Sanctum Sanctorum.
Yep.
And I love this scene too because it starts with Doctor Strange heading out to grab sandwiches from a deli.
Right. See if they can make you a metaphysical ham on rye.
Yeah, because Wong wants him to buy his sandwiches, and he just his reason for not having money is because they've given up physical things or whatever. Yeah, and then when he says that, he's like, "Oh, I think I've got $100 in my belt."
Oh, rupees!
No, he's
100 rupees.
Yeah, how much is that?
About $1.50.
Yeah, that's good stuff. But that's when Banner comes crashing in through the roof. And they're kind of they don't know what's going on, but I love this because Banner just says, Thanos is coming. Thanos is coming.
Yep.
And Doctor Strange is like, who's that?
Yeah.
But that's good stuff.
Title screen. Bum, bum,
yep.
bum, bum. So we come back with Tony Stark jogging through the park trying to explain
to
Pepper about
trying to get out of the doghouse about something.
No, he thought they were pregnant because he had a dream. He had a realistic dream.
Yeah. Well, but she was mad at him for building that nanotech
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that we don't need to talk about that anymore because Strange and Banner show up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, well, because Strange shows up first, and he's just like, Tony Stark, you need to come with me. And Tony's immediately like, what the? Who the heck are you? But then Banner comes walking through, and he's like, Tony, you know, like, this is serious.
Yeah.
And so Stark goes with him. They walk through the portal, and they go to Sanctum Sanctorum, and this is where they get the big explanation about who Thanos is and everything. And
we get the plot laid out.
Yeah. Well, and I love this, too, because they kind of, like Banner explains, like, you remember New York? This is the guy that was responsible for it. And you see Tony immediately shift into, like...
Yeah. Well, he says, this is it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, totally. Because I mean, this has been the thing that's been bothering Stark since it happened.
Right.
Yeah.
So like he knows that he needs to do something about this.
Yep.
He's ready to step up and end this.
You also get the first few instances of Doctor Strange going toe to toe.
Oh my
gosh, Tony Stark.
Oh,
so good, right?
Yeah. I want a weekly sitcom of that. Just an odd couple with Doctor Strange and Iron Man.
Oh man, he calls him a douchebag.
Yeah.
Protecting your reality, douchebag.
Yeah.
I was like, yes. Well, we talked about in the Doctor Strange episode how similar but different they are, and it really just plays out so well. You know,
totally.
and like neither of them, you know, both of them are used to talking down to everybody.
Yeah. Right.
You know, and neither of them will
yield.
Yeah, for sure. It's great.
Well, and I think I talked about in that episode too, or one of these episodes, how excited I was at the prospect of seeing Paul Rudd and Robert Downey Jr. interact on screen. Like I had no idea to be excited about Doctor Strange and Tony Stark sparring, but man, is that my favorite thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So Strange knows that Thanos is probably coming there to get his stone. He's got the time stone, which we know he's wearing around his neck in the necklace to keep it safe. So they pretty much figure that out right away. They're like, he's coming here to get the time stone, and we've got to protect it. We've got to stop him from doing it. And it's shortly after that ship just shows up.
Yeah.
Comes crashing down to Earth, ready.
Almost right away.
Almost immediately.
Because Tony suggests they just put it in a garbage disposal. You know, and he's like, nope, we've sworn to protect it with our lives. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Which I get. I'm a little confused on. I don't know why, if they had the power to destroy it, which I don't even know that they do.
Yeah.
Why that would be a bad.
Well, they kind of talk. Well,
you know, I get that you want to protect it with your lives, but you also are willing to sacrifice everything to save the universe.
Yeah.
So if that is a possibility, which again I don't think it would be.
Maybe they don't think
anyway,
they can. Later on in the movie, they basically kind of allude that Scarlet Witch is the only one that has the ability to destroy a stone, right?
Yeah, or not necessarily that she's the only one, but just that she does
strong
have
enough
it because her power comes from one.
Yeah.
So she would probably be able to destroy one.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, and that's kind of been a running theme through these movies, right? The power of an Infinity Stone is one of the only things that can.
Yeah.
Because even going back to the first Avengers, which at the time they talked about Loki's staff being powered by the Tesseract, but it's also an Infinity Stone, and it's what was able to penetrate at the time and the cube and stop the whole thing. So that's kind of like a running thing through these movies. That's pretty cool.
I really like just a small kind of detail when they're talking about Vision, because they're talking about we need to put that one in a garbage disposal, and they're like, nope, no way. Well, where's the other one? Vision has it, and Tony Stark's like, well, Vision's turned off his transponder. I don't know how to find him. Well, yeah, Banner's like, you
lost another super robot.
yeah. It's like you lost another super bot. But he's like, well, how do we find him? And Stark's like, well, Steve Rogers could probably find him. Yeah. And Wong and Strange are both like, oh, great. You know, because they know what's been happening. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's just such a great little. Like, it would have been so easy to overlook that detail to where everybody's just standing there like, well, what can't we call Captain America? You know what I mean?
Because Banner's super confused by that because he's been gone for 2 years out of the orbit, know? And he's just like, well, why don't you just call him? Just call him. Yeah. And that's when Stark's finally like, a lot's changed since you've been gone.
Yeah, and I like, too, that, like, because Tony lays that out on him, and Banner's just like, look, like, what's coming... your little fight doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just call it.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, this is when the ship shows up, and this is because it's Ebony Maw and Cole Obsidian are the ones that show up, right? The big guy and Ebony Maw show up to come get the Time Stone. This is where we cut over to Peter Parker too, as this is happening, because as that ship is crashing down, they cut to.
I love Ned in that scene.
Yeah, they cut to a school bus that's on a field trip. And Peter's on this bus, and we get the great scene where we see the hair on his arm stand up, and he kind of looks down and then looks out, and he sees that ship coming, noticing it before the rest of the bus realizes what's going on. And that's important to bring up because we had that conversation about spider sense in the Homecoming episode, and this is an obvious, solidifies that the spider sense does exist in
and
the
I guess
MCU.
it still makes me wonder if that's like a growing thing, like he doesn't really know he has it or how it works or anything, because they haven't focused on it anywhere else, but clearly there's
that was clearly it right there. That was what that was supposed to mean.
And it made me mad because I've seen that 100 times and never.
You totally forgot about it.
I've had that scene 100 times and I've had that thought 100 times and I've never put them together.
Yeah.
Hundreds probably.
When we were watching Infinity War the other night. And that scene came on, Christina was like, "Oh, it's in this movie. I kept trying to figure out why you guys were all arguing about spider sense in that movie because I kept thinking about this." She forgot that it was in Infinity War. I thought that was funny.
I think it's fun that we can, because these movies are so interconnected, we can think about Spider-Man and go, but there's that scene clearly with him doing this thing. Oh, it's because it's in a totally different movie.
Yeah. So he leaves. He swings off.
I said I love Ned there because he's like, Ned, I need a distraction, and Ned legitimately sees that thing and absolutely freaks out.
Yeah.
It just goes running about how we're all gonna die.
See, you ruined that for me.
Why?
Well, because the first time I saw that, I watched that scene as Ned reacting instantly to Peter.
Oh,
you know, so and like I really loved the dynamic that Peter was like, "Hey, give me a distraction," and he just like, "I'm on it," but then you were like, "No, I think he started to turn around and saw the alien ship and freaked out," and now I see it that way. And that's not as cool to me. Like I don't like that as much. I like the man in the chair that's just instantly on it without any question. Not so.
Well, either way, we also get our great Stan Lee cameo here.
Oh, yeah.
What's the matter? You kids never seen an alien invasion before?
Good stuff, man. Oh, jeez. So this is we get a fight scene. Big fight scene in the streets here.
This is also so many details that pop up here. Yeah. So sorry to keep interrupting, but it's hitting me as we go.
Oh yeah, that's
this is also right before then I think is when we get our first instance realizing that the Hulk ain't coming out.
Yep,
that's right.
Because Stark's like, all right, look at that big guy, Banner, you want him? And Banner's like, no, but when do I ever get what I want? And then he just stands there and starts trying to.
Like he's kind of turning green.
Hulk himself
and
up,
it's not working.
And it's just not coming out. And Tony's like, dude, you're embarrassing me in front of the wizards. So Iron Man suits up and decides to just go after
with
himself.
his new nanotech suit. So again, we're seeing the progression of the Iron Man costume, which has been happening over the last decade. And now he's got the nano suit. Yep. It's a little more slim than we've seen. It's not as bulky anymore, but it's really cool. I like it. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun to see the technology advance with Iron Man's creations.
We also there's a couple of lines of dialogue in this movie that I'm not sure I understand, and one of them happens right about here because when that fight starts and Tony turns to Strange at one point and says something about, we got to get that stone out of here or do something with that, and Doctor Strange is like, nope, sworn to protect it or something like that. And he's like, because Tony says something about how we got to get it as far away from these guys as we can.
Right.
And Doctor Strange is like, nope, sworn to protect it. And Tony's like, exactly. And then he flies off.
Well, he says exactly, bye.
Yeah.
And he wants Strange to run, but Strange ain't going to run.
Okay, so that's the part I'm missing.
Yes.
Because the way that dialogue comes off, it's like Tony's making him leave, except he doesn't move at all.
Yeah.
And Tony's the one who flies off.
Right.
Which is not getting the stone away from anything.
Yeah, well, he flies over to fight, and, I think his plan is, I'll fight these guys, distract them, you get as far away as possible.
Oh, okay.
But Strange ain't going to do that.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And he kind of says that later when they're on the spaceship, because he's like, I told you to get out of there. I told you to run.
Okay.
You shouldn't even be here.
Okay.
Yep.
We should talk about these movies off the internet so I can understand them better.
Yeah.
I like the part where he's trying to lay it all out to Spider-Man real quick when Spider-Man shows up.
Yeah.
And he's like, "That's the wizard kid. That's you. Go get him."
Well, he shows up. He's about to get clobbered by Cole Obsidian. And Spider-Man catches his thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah.
He's from space, and he's trying to steal a necklace from a wizard.
Yeah. And then Strange and the cloak. Strange's cloak flies by.
Yeah.
Well, the cloak is carrying him, I guess, at that point.
Right.
Yeah. But the cloak goes flying by, and he's like, "That's the wizard. Get on it."
Yeah.
And like the ebony maw is chasing him.
Yeah.
It's a great scene.
Yeah, it is a great scene. And Spider-Man keeps trying to like stop him and pull him with the webs, which is awesome.
And Maw's just hitting him with street signs.
Yeah. Well, that was cool too because Maw tries to take the stone off of him and can't because of a spell that's on it. And so basically his plan is just to kidnap Strange and just take Strange with him, which is why this is happening. So they're like doing the big chase there where Spider-Man's trying to stop him from getting sucked up to the ship and all that stuff. Yep. I love that too because he's like talking to Stark. He's like, "Stark, I'm getting beamed up.
Yeah.
Mr. Stark, I'm getting beamed up." When he's getting sucked up to the ship. Do you ever see that old movie Aliens? No more pop culture references, Stark says.
For the rest of the trip.
For the rest of the trip, yeah. And also, like, because we've got that scene, too, where, like, we're talking about Banner, but Banner's, like, laying down trying to Hulk up here again, remember? Because he's like, because this is where Hulk actually shows up and goes, "No! What do you mean, no?" Yeah. That's good, too.
It's good.
All right, so that kind of ends our scene there. They take Doctor Strange. Spider-Man goes up with him. Iron Man chases him up. As the ship's getting higher, Spider-Man's running out of oxygen, so that's when Tony...
I love that, too. He's like, it's getting hard to think or something like that. And Tony's like, "Well, you're getting higher. You're running out of oxygen." He's like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense."
Yeah. And then he passes out. Yeah. So Tony gives him the Iron Spider suit, which was cool because that's what we saw at the end of Homecoming.
Yep.
So he gets all Iron Man suited up, basically, and he's able to breathe because of it and everything. And I love it because he's like, "All right, see you, bye." And he, like, makes the parachute come out to suck.
Send him home.
Come on. Yeah, to send him home.
Smells like a new car in here, Mr. Stark.
But Spider-Man does not go down. He ends up going up with the ship.
And Tony's on the ship.
And Tony's on the ship.
Pepper's angry.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Was this where we cut away, or did we get a little bit more? I think this is where we.
I think we cut away. Here.
I think this is about the time.
They go back first, and we see
Wong and
Banner.
Oh, that's right. Because Wong. This is where Wong.
That's just a.
Wong's basically like...
after he got invited to Tony's wedding.
Yeah. Wong has to go back to the sanctum because it's being left unprotected now.
Yep. Yeah.
And I like that because they really established that in Doctor Strange, how there always needs to be somebody protecting the sanctums. They can't just leave them unprotected. So there's a reason for Wong to have to leave here, and we've already been given the reasons why in the Doctor Strange movie. Yep. So I like that. I thought that was a cool callback.
We also they cut Cole Obsidian's arm off.
Yeah. Here. Oh yeah.
Which I don't know. Like, I mean, he comes back later, and does he have two arms later?
Well, he's got like a robot arm implanted. Then
yeah, which isn't that's a thing in these movies, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's a thing. With him too. I don't know if you remember seeing anything online about it, but Cole Obsidian's got a sash hanging off of his belt, which totally looks like Captain Marvel's colors. It's blue and red and with gold trim on it.
Oh, really?
It looks like in the comic books, Captain Marvel wears like a sash belt like that around her waist. So a lot of people were speculating that he was wearing that as like a trophy or something around his waist. Like he's probably had some sort of battle with Captain Marvel. It's clear as day when you look at it. It is straight up Captain Marvel's colors, and it's just hanging off of his belt. Yeah. So if you go look at it, you can see it specifically in these New York scenes.
Yep.
It's the same colors of red, blue with gold trim on it. It looks like Captain Marvel's suit. So I don't know where they're going with that, or if that's just supposed to be like a little Easter eggy kind of thing, or what.
Spoiler alert! By the end of this movie, he dead.
Yeah, exactly. But it's
But that, that doesn't mean we won't see him in Captain Marvel. I was going to say that's in the past also.
Very plausible that Captain Marvel has had battles with these characters before up in the space somewhere. So I thought that was kind of neat too. Okay, so now we get our introduction with the Guardians of the Galaxy in the movie. Which is a great...
Singing Rubber Man.
That's right, man. I mean, it feels like a Guardians movie at this point. Yeah. We get the old music, and they're all on the Milano, and they're all rocking out. Yeah.
On a personal note, I watched this movie with my dad at one point, who I don't think knew the Guardians was in it. He got so excited when this scene started.
Oh, awesome. It's awesome. It's good, man.
On a personal note, for me... I hate Star-Lord's mustache in this. It bugs me so bad.
Really?
Yeah, it's just so... Now, I was thinking about it this time. I've hated it since the first time I saw it. Like, when he first comes on scene and he's just got that... I'm just like, ugh, what did they... why? Who? What? Whose idea was that?
Yeah.
Thinking about it a little bit. So part of my problem is that it's just so like 70s, 80s, just like that. Stash, right?
Like, he's got sideburns too, right?
Yeah,
he have like sideburns and a stash.
Yeah, they're like just pointed and they're terrible.
Yeah.
And I don't know if maybe he looks like that in a comic, series or something that they were like. Yeah. I have no idea. I was deciding this time, kid, man, maybe he probably had seen like a lot of that before he left Earth, so like it kind of makes sense that he might think like, oh, this is a cool way to grow my stash.
Yeah, totally.
But I hate it, man. It drives me nuts. I just hate looking at it.
Thor crashes into their ship, and this is where Thor meets the Guardians for the first time.
Yeah, and the whole scene when they bring him on is I love when they're like, he's like, this dude's still alive, and Drax is like, this is no dude.
Yeah,
this is a man.
Yeah,
you're a dude.
You're a dude.
It's like this is like a pirate had a baby with an angel.
Yeah, and then Gamora's like rubbing he's like, stop rubbing his muscles or stop massaging his muscles.
Because Star-Lord says something about himself, and Rocket's like, come on, Quill.
Yeah.
You're one cheeseburger away from fat or something like that.
Oh my god!
All right, that's it. I'm getting a Bowflex. I'm gonna take this seriously.
Yeah.
So did we talk about the Bowflex? I don't think we talked about the Bowflex.
I don't think so.
I'm just gonna say
you and I did.
I think you and I did, and I'm just gonna bring it up here because it bugged me, and I'm not quite satisfied with it. Because so he left 89. Right? Isn't that what it said?
So.
What it said in the Guardians? He left in 89. Bowflex was invented in 88. There's no way.
Plenty of time.
There's no way that kid knew what a Bowflex was.
I'm just saying. For an 8-year-old or however old he was to be completely up on the home exercise
the
game.
Bowflex wasn't even a thing until like the 90s. You know what I mean? Like it was I went and checked because I was mad. I was like, there's no way he knows what a Bowflex is. And I went back and checked, and it was patented in 89 or 88. It was patented in 88. I remember when the Bowflex commercials were big. That was like in the 90s.
That definitely feels like a 90s thing.
Yeah, that is for sure.
But
in the 90s.
I don't know. I didn't really even make that connection though.
Internet, prove us wrong.
I did. It bugged me. You can't prove me wrong. I did the research. Internets.
So Thor comes to.
Mantis brings him to.
Oh yeah, that's right. She wakes him up. Mantis wakes him up. Because she talks about how he's in pain or something, right? She could feel his pain and all that kind of stuff, and then she wakes him up. So he wakes up startled.
I just my notes are just three of my favorite Thor quotes.
Okay.
So because he tells them that Thanos is going to nowhere.
Yeah.
And he doesn't tell. He says that the Collector has one of the Infinity Stones. Yeah. And they're all like, oh, only an idiot would give that guy an Infinity Stone. And he just goes, or a genius.
Yeah.
He doesn't explain that he gave him one. He doesn't explain how he knows he has him one. They're just like, only an idiot would give the Collector an Infinity Stone. He's just like, or a genius. I laugh every time. When they ask him when he's talking about the Avengers, they don't need to go to Earth. because the Earth has the Avengers.
Right.
And they're like, the Avengers, who's that? And he's like, Earth's mightiest heroes.
Yeah.
And Mantis goes, like Kevin Bacon? And he just goes, he may be on the team. I haven't been there in a while.
Yeah. That was awesome.
And then the final one, like, so like this kind of legit blew my mind, right? Because he said he's talking about, that's when he's like, I don't need a spoon, I need a hammer, you know? And he's like, I need to go to I can't say the word, near to Valir.
Close as I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
Near to Valir to get the hammer, and he's like, I have to go to near to Valir. And Drax goes, that's a made up word. And Thor just goes, all words are made up. Yep. Like, well, all words are made up.
That's the one, like, I chuckle openly every time. I cannot help it, even though I know it's coming.
Dude, their banter in this entire scene is amazing.
Yeah,
the
man.
way they all talk to each other is
just
fantastic.
when he's trying to get on that pod and Star-Lord's is like, no, sir, you will not. Yeah. And they're all like, you're trying to mimic the God-Man.
Yeah, Rocket was like, did you just make your voice?
This is my voice.
Yeah. Are you mocking me?
He's doing it to mock me.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
Man, can we just talk about how owned Star-Lord would have gotten? Like if he tried to fist fight Thor right there, man, that'd have been a bad day for Peter Quill, huh? But I'll go ahead and mention here, I really like, one of the things I do really like, nobody, like none of these alphas get along, you know?
Yeah.
Like Star-Lord, I mean, like at no point do Star-Lord and Thor, like, come to an understanding. Nope. At no point do Stark and Strange really come to an understanding.
Or Stark and Star-Lord.
Oh, yeah, or Stark and Star-Lord don't get along, you know what I mean? I mean, they end up with a plan, but even like as the plan is working, Star-Lord's like, my idea for the record.
Yeah,
you know, like
now
at no point.
Now that's the space alphas, because on Earth, I mean, Black Panther's an alpha, Captain America's an alpha. They're getting along fine. Even when Thor shows up on Earth, he gets along fine with all of them. Like, there's a contrast to those different groups there.
That's true.
You're totally right.
True.
In space.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that.
I mean, but also, like, the personalities, right? The personalities are so different.
Yeah.
Because the Captain America and Black Panther are both, like, more noble. They're more...
There's also pre-existing relationships there in what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So that's also a factor. But you're also right, because they do, like, I mean, and there was never really... well, I mean, Civil War was Civil War, but there was never a point, even when, like, Black Panther and Captain America were really, like, at odds with each other, except for Civil War being Civil War.
Exactly. Right. On a personality scale, they weren't.
Yeah.
Just on a stance scale, they were.
Right.
Yeah.
Situational.
Yes.
Not ideological.
Yep. Well said.
Thank you. So great. So we split up the Guardians.
Right. Mm-hmm. So Rocket and Groot go with Thor because Rocket wants to see the planet where the weapons get made.
Which was great too because
I would really like to go there.
He's like, we need a weapon. What kind of weapon? The Thanos killing kind. Well, don't you think we should all have that kind of weapon? And then Thor explains to Quill that even touching that thing would basically drive him insane. He doesn't have the power for it. Instead, Rocket goes,
your bodies would explode while your mind collapses into madness.
And Rocket goes, is it weird that I want to do it even more now? And Thor's like, yeah, a little bit.
Yep. So they split up.
Yep. So, and this is I'm gonna throw out a little nitpick here that bugs me sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes they make jokes that don't make sense for the sake of funny dialogue. So Rocket's whole thing there is like, I've got an easy solution. We have 2 ships and a wide assortment of morons. So me and Groot are going to go with the Pirate Angel, and you morons are going to go fight Thanos, right? And Thor sits down, and he's like, like they're getting ready to take off, and he's like, "Good luck to you, morons."
Yeah.
He would totally know what morons means.
Yeah.
Like he's been on Earth, you know what I mean? Like that's not, that stuff like that is kind of the same thing I talked about at like.
I don't know that he's above just following that joke though. I don't know that. I don't know that the joke was that he didn't know what that meant. Yeah.
I mean,
I never took it that way.
I mean, I felt like it played that way. I felt like it played. I didn't feel like he would call them all morons. I felt like that. Well, I guess that's the thing. I feel like that would be out of character for Thor, for him also to just be like, "Nah, you bunch of morons. Good luck." You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That didn't seem. But stuff like that, because I made that same complaint in Guardians when Drax calls Gamora a whore.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like that's. Oh, it's funny for him to say that, kind of out of the loop.
Right.
So just a little nitpick. I still laugh every time he says it. So whatever. But then we go back to Earth.
Vision and
Scarlet Witch.
Oh, that's right. So we meet up with Vision and Scarlet Witch.
Who are having their sweet little moment.
Yeah, but he's not feeling well. Like something's wrong. The stone is making him feel weird, right? It's warning him is what he eventually comes to.
Right.
Because they're out on the street and they are seeing the news report of the stuff going on in New York, and he kind of has this moment where he's like, I've got to go.
Yeah. Well, he had the moment that don't forget, right before that he was talking about not ever going back.
Oh, yeah.
He was talking to her about maybe we just don't do this. Let's make promises to you and me, and maybe we just won't ever go back.
Yeah.
And then,
also, he looked like Paul Bettany.
He was like, had like the whole human thing going on, yeah.
Made me want to go watch Wimbledon.
Yeah, darn right.
But shortly after this is when they show up.
Yep.
They show up to get him.
Corvus Blade and Proxima Midnight.
Yep, because they're going to get his Infinity Stone. Is the plan here.
And Vision gets stabbed
immediately
and lays down for the rest of the movie.
No joke. You're totally right. Yeah. Because Corvus has like this crazy staff that just like his Vision's made of adamantium, vibranium, but just easily gets stabbed by this thing.
Yeah,
just goes right through him. It's crazy.
Yep.
So you're right. He gets stabbed, lays down. Scarlet Witch tries fighting everybody off.
Yeah.
Which leads us to the amazing scene.
Man.
With the train passing by.
And Cap shows up. Is that not? I mean, in a series of 20-some movies with great hero arrivals.
That's what I figured.
Whoa! Hey, what
is it?
What? Hey, is that you have an iPhone?
Thanks, Siri.
So Siri's just joining in on the conversation.
She wants in.
That's what she figured. She likes Cap.
Sorry, Siri.
Geek Easy's the new big thing on the internet.
The Geek Siri.
Apple
Siri.
wants part of this.
All right. So anyway, in this whole series of great hero arrivals, like, is this not one of the best? Like, this has got to be towards the top.
Do you remember because we saw this on opening night? Do you remember the theater reacting to this?
Yeah.
Like the theater cheered when Cap showed up, and we all felt it. We were just like, yes, there he is. That's our hero.
And he's not even. And he's not even. I mean, he's got that kind of blacked out suit, like the
stars ripped off. He's got the big full beard.
He's got the big beard.
But it's awesome, like that when he shows up and it plays the Avengers music. Like he shows up and the Avengers music kicks in, and it's just like, oh, it's on. Yeah. And he comes in and starts fighting, and then like one by one, Falcon shows up and Black Widow shows up, and you're just going, yeah. Like that's how this whole scene feels. It's amazing.
Well, because it has that feeling. I mean, and they show up like they're the only ones that are kind of still doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like oh, y'all ambushed the two lovebirds and. Tony Stark was trying to jog in the park. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now here's some real heroes. What up?
Totally.
The Avengers are here now, suckers. What up?
Oh man, it's good stuff.
It's a great scene.
And it's great too because they basically win. They're victorious at the end of this.
They own those two.
This is one instance where an Infinity Stone does not get taken.
Yeah.
Like so far in the movie, every time they've shown up, they've basically pretty much gotten what they've wanted to an extent. I mean, like, they don't quite get Doctor Strange's right away, but they stole Doctor Strange. right?
They technically, they took the stone.
They technically took the stone. So they're unsuccessful here. They get chased off, which is great. Doesn't Cap say something to Vision too? Like, we told you not to wander off too far or something like that? We told you to stay in contact?
No. Black Widow says that to...
Scarlet
Witch?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I was going to bring up, because I really like kind of how... Well, I don't know about really like, but it's just interesting. Cap still seems pretty bitter here. Because Vision thanks him. Thank you, Captain. And Cap just kind of looks him up and down, and he's like, let's get you on the ship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not, hey, how are you? Not, glad you're okay. Just, let's get you on the ship.
Right, yeah, totally.
So it's interesting to see Captain America kind of that way.
Right, yeah. Is it here, though, where we kind of learn, too, like, because they say something about, I can't remember when that is, because we get to a point where they're all kind of coming together, right?
You mean when they meet up with War Machine?
Yeah, War Machine.
That's a little bit later.
That's a little bit later.
Yeah,
okay.
that's a little bit later.
Because they talk about Clint and everything. That's
that's later.
Yeah, this is where they get on the ship. Okay. And Falcon asks him where we're going, and he kind of
says home.
Home.
Yeah, it says home. Yeah. Yep, because they're going back to New York.
Man, Chris Evans, right?
He is the best.
Did you ever think when we were watching him play Freddie Prinze Jr. in Not Another Teen Movie?
Right.
Like that we'd be here?
Yeah.
No,
or even when he was Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four movies. I mean, it's so different, right?
Yep. Who was he in Scott Pilgrim?
Oh yeah, dude, he was in Scott Pilgrim.
I mean, that was after he started as Captain America.
Right.
He was one of the 7 ex-boyfriends.
He was one of the ex-boyfriends. Yeah, he was awesome.
Can you do a thingy on that thingy?
That movie's so good.
That's a good movie. Okay. No. So then we go back. So they head home, and then we go to meet the Guardians on Nowhere.
Yeah. Did you notice how different Nowhere looks when they're landing? Because in Guardians 1, when they're in Nowhere, that's like a bustling planet. There's a lot going on. It's like the seedy underbelly kind of planet, but it was always crowded and full of people.
Right.
And when they show up this time, it's empty. It's totally empty.
Is this before we go back to Stark and Spider-Man?
That's
I can't remember.
You're probably right.
Yeah,
I don't have any notes for that scene. Okay. So that's probably there.
We show back up on Doctor Strange and Maw's getting ready to torture him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
And Stark's trying to make up a plan, and the Cloak comes up to him. He's like, you really are a loyal piece of outerwear or whatever. Right. And then Spider-Man shows up behind him. He's like, speaking of loyalty, you know. And he gets mad at Spider-Man for having followed him, for being on the ship, because he just realizes he's there. And that's another one of the lines that kind of gives me cause, because they start arguing about whether or not Spider-Man should be there. And Peter's like, look, I can't be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man if there's no neighborhood.
Yep.
And then there's that pause, and he's like, well, that doesn't really make sense, but you know what I mean. And I was going, that made total sense. I got exactly what he was going for there.
Right.
I don't know why he had to backtrack on himself there.
So I don't think that, man. I just kind of get that's not really an explanation for why he's on. Because remember, Peter doesn't know what's going on at all.
Yeah.
Peter just knows they came to steal a wizard, got the wizard. Now they're leaving. You know what I mean? So I think that's just the acknowledgement that that's not really a good reason to be there.
I think he can garner that the world's in danger.
I mean, probably, but still, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't make that line make sense. What I thought was cool about that was realizing, and this was in Homecoming, rather, it's Tony Stark who says, can't you be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So... I thought that was cool.
Well,
cool to be a callback now.
Yeah, for sure.
That it was Stark who said that, and not just the thing we always say about Spider-Man.
Yeah, and that's why he was throwing it out there.
Right.
I figured I just did. But then they form their plan because Stark's like, all right, you're here, so let's figure this out. Here's the players. What do we do? That's when Spider-Man's like, you ever seen that really old movie Aliens?
Yeah. No more pop culture references for the trip. Yeah.
Man, it hurts me every time.
I know.
He does
because he did that in Civil War. You guys ever seen that old movie Empire Strikes Back?
How old is this kid? He's a little on the young side.
Yeah. See, man, it's fine. I appreciate the joke.
Right.
I've just lived it too many times.
Yeah.
Where I've said, because I work with kids and I train wrestlers, and there's just been too many times where I'm like, oh yeah, like in the Sandlot,
Yeah.
And they're like, what's the Sandlot?
What's the Sandlot?
Yeah. Like my soul is dead. So every time Peter's like, you ever seen that really old movie? I'm just like,
yeah. This is real.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I have.
Oh yeah, they totally killed Ebony Maw here in this scene, right?
Yeah.
He was the first one to bite the dust of Thor's.
Which is funny because
Thanos'
he was my favorite, but I was still really happy with this scene, the way it all played out. You know?
Right.
Like I was a little bummed out when he was dead already,
right?
But I was like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
So that just gives me a thought though too. So they zap Cole Obsidian. I don't know that one, the big guy.
Yeah.
Like they zap him to some snowy mountain.
Yeah.
And then the Ebony Maw just leaves him. Like once the Ebony Maw has Doctor Strange, he's just out. So like Cole Obsidian had to like call Proxima Midnight and be like, "Hey, you guys still around?
I'm in this snowy place.
Can you come get me off this mountain?"
Yeah, totally.
Except he mostly just grunts, doesn't he?
I don't know.
I mean, so how did
Ebony Maw got ejected out into space and froze to death, all of the dudes in Guardians 2.
Yep. But then we got to see the Iron Spider suit.
With the big legs and everything.
They pop out and hold him in, and Peter's like, "Yes, wait, what are those?"
Yeah.
And then we also get that great, like he pulls them in, and everybody, like Stark seals the hole up so they can all move and breathe again, and immediately Strange just gets mad at them all.
Yeah,
right.
Stark's like, "I just saved you." He's like, by almost blowing me into space.
Yeah.
And then again, the whole banter there, because there's the whole deal with Strange going, I don't really understand this relationship. Is he your ward or what's going on here? And this is when we really get the face-to-face with between, Stark keeps arguing over all the things he was telling Strange to do. And Strange's like, "Look, I'm like everyone else in your life. I don't work for you.
Yeah.
I don't do what you tell me to do.
Right.
I've got other bigger concerns here."
This is also the scene too where we talked about in the other Doctor Strange podcast, because Peter's like, "Oh, I'm Peter Parker, by the way." Doctor Strange. "Oh, we're using our made up names? Then I'm Spider-Man."
and I just have to say, I know Danny will get this out. You don't travel as much as we have for wrestling, so I don't know if you'll experience this as much. When I go to wrestling shows, I introduce myself to other wrestlers as my real name.
Yeah.
And I have that moment a lot, because I'll be like, "Hey, I'm Jaren," and I shake their hands, and they're like, "What's up, man? I'm Jackknife." I'm like,
"Oh, we're using our made up names."
Yeah, I just want to do that every time. "Oh, we're using our made up names."
I know. I run into that a lot. I don't even have a one way that I do it. Literally, sometimes I'm like, "Oh, I'm Danny," and sometimes I'm like, "Oh, I'm Spencer."
Yeah.
I don't even know why. Just how whatever mood I'm in, how I introduce myself, I guess.
Sometimes you just have to look at that person and go, "Do I want them to know my real name?" But this is also where Stark basically talks Doctor Strange into it, because Doctor Strange is like, "All right, we got to turn this thing around." And Stark's like, maybe we fly right into him.
Yeah.
Because Doctor Strange's like, under no circumstances do we take this thing to Thanos. But Stark talks him into it, and so they're on their way to Titan instead of trying to turn around to Earth. And then Strange lets them know, if it comes right down to it, I will let both of you die without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
If it protects this stone.
Yep.
Yeah.
So kind of lay some groundwork, and then off we go.
Yep.
So now we're on Nowhere.
We're on Nowhere.
So yeah, empty planet. They get to the Collector's Lair, but everything in the Collector's Lair looks normal. But I think the fact that Nowhere was empty was supposed to be our clue that something wasn't right.
Yep.
But when they're in the Collector's Lair, everything looks normal, and it looks like Thanos is in the middle of his deal with the Collector to try to get the stone from him.
Deal, torturing him.
Torturing him,
trying to beat it out of him.
Yeah, which is great. Man, I love the Collector too. He's such a great character. I love it too. They just charge in and attack.
Yep.
Run in for that attack, and
they try to make a. So this is where we kind of talked about this in Guardians, when we talked about everybody's issues.
Yeah.
And this is where we get to see Drax kind of not, giving into his not being over his issues. He's just ready to rush right in and get murdered by Thanos.
Right.
Until Mantis puts him to sleep.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
But then even Quill's like trying to make the game plan. Right. He's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go. You guys head that way," and Gamora instantly runs the other way from what he says and charges in.
Kills Thanos.
But yeah, Gamora runs straight in and just murders Thanos right here.
Right.
Like, and she's
then
all
the credits roll.
Yeah, and that's it. The end of the movie. But I like this too, though, because she kills him and then she gets super sad because she just murdered her dad.
Yeah.
And she like sits down and she starts crying. And like he says something too, like I didn't. Oh, does he say that after he shows himself? Because he says something like.
It's kind of while the reveal is happening.
Yeah, like I didn't know if you'd have that in you or something like that. He says to her.
Yeah.
Which is great. Yeah, so the reveal happens that Thanos isn't actually dead and that he already has the reality stone and thus was able to alter reality to bait them into this whole thing. I love too, like right before the scene splits, like because she kills Thanos and the Collector just goes wonderful. He's like clapping and everything. I love it. That's so great. But yeah, so the big reveal happens, and this place is like on fire, and Thanos has already just wrecked the Collector and his collection, so he did, and all that stuff's gone, and he got the Reality Stone already.
Yep.
And he kind of has that confrontation.
Well, I feel like this is where, for me, this is where the movie stopped being just a really cool, all-inclusive team-up movie and became something special for me, because this is that moment where, you know, he kind of grabs Gamora and Star-Lord jumps out.
Yeah.
You know, and they have that whole moment where he does the, you know, she's like, no, you know, because he comes in and he threatens to shoot Thanos, and she's like, no, me.
Yeah, we already had this discussion. Like, we skipped over that, but they did have that discussion where she was like, you know, if it comes down to it, you have to kill me. You have to kill me. Yeah.
Made him promise on his mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Thanos is just like Tess Quill, you know. She's asked, hasn't she? You know, and he just holds it there and waits for him, you know, and tells him to do it. Yeah. You know, and then he does.
Tells Gamora she expects too much from him.
Yeah. Yeah. You know. And he does. She says, I love you. And he, you know, says, I love you too. I was almost a little disappointed he didn't solo her. Yeah, man, I felt like he should have soloed her.
I know.
I guess that moment, that was a bad moment to solo her.
Yeah, right as he's about to murder her. Yeah. But then he has a bubble gun.
Yeah, but then he has a bubble gun. And I think here's where we kind of see, you know, this is another, it's such a, because Thanos smiles and says, I like you.
I like you.
And then vanishes, you know. Yeah. So I have this theory that Thanos wants to be stopped.
Yeah.
I think Thanos, you know, kind of watching it. I mean, he believes in what he's doing, and he's going to do what he does, and he's not going to let himself be stopped. But I think he wants to be stopped, you know? And he certainly appreciates all the people who are willing to do whatever it takes to stop him, you know? So, like, there's almost a little bit, you know.
Because they're him.
Right, yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So,
well, he constantly tells them that he understands the way they feel, he can relate to them, and, you know, he has that kind of conversation with them all the time.
Yeah.
So, like, all throughout this movie. So, yeah, totally.
Yeah. But I also like just kind of the dad aspect here. Yeah. Because there's totally that, you know, when he pops out and he's like, the boyfriend.
Yeah.
You know, and then the way he says, I like you. That's not like that's like a dad liking a boyfriend. It's definitely not like mutual admiration of two enemies.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
So there's a couple.
It's a bit reminiscent of the whole Vulture Spider-Man scene.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's a couple great things about this scene.
And he takes Gamora away. Yep. Where does that leave us here?
So now we go back, and now we get the scene where Rhodey is talking to Secretary.
Yes.
Secretary Ross and Cap and Vision and everybody show up, and that's where we get the coming together here.
Yeah.
And they get to meet back up with Banner.
Mm-hmm. Rhodey's walking, but he's got like the big thing.
Was
on
a little
his
legs. Because Widow seemed a little surprised to see Banner. But isn't Banner the one who called them?
Surprised to see him, but not because it's been so long, I think, and they kind of had that little thing.
Yeah, I think they just kinda,
not necessarily like
they haven't seen.
I didn't know you were going to be here.
Okay,
they haven't seen each other in over 2 years at this point, so it was just that whole thing, I think.
And I think probably also, you know, she kind of expects she's one that, you know, she's almost got that rocket thing where she tends to expect people to turn on her.
Yeah.
Because of her background and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think she probably assumed that when she did see Banner, he'd hate her for kicking her down the hole to become Hulk.
Yeah.
So when they walk in and Rhodey's like, you guys look pretty rough, and Banner's like, y'all look wonderful to me. I think she's kind of like, oh, he doesn't hate me, type of thing. Yeah. So.
They ask at this point if they should call Clint, right, or where Clint is, and that's where Widow kind of explains that he and Scott both took like a plea deal.
Who's Scott?
For their families. Yeah. Oh yeah. So there's a Spider-Man and an Ant-Man. But that kind of explains why Clint and Scott aren't here, and also helps explain why Scott's where he is when Ant-Man and Wasp starts.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
There's also. We get here just more of Cap being really jaded and zero exposition on it, and I love that. Like they just let him be that way.
Yeah.
They don't ever have to have the moment because so many movies we would have that moment where Cap's being short or being jaded and Rhodey leans over to Widow and he's like, what's up with him? And she's like, well, he's kind of mad because all his friends turned on him. You know what I mean? Like that's just something you would expect from this kind of movie, but they just don't bother. They're just like, nope, we'll just let Cap be Cap and everybody can draw their own conclusions.
Right.
And again, man, Chris Evans.
He's the best, man. He's the best.
But this is where they start talking about needing to get the stone out of Vision, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Because Vision is basically like, just destroy it. You got to. And Wanda, it's got to be you.
Yeah.
And Captain America refuses. Like, we're not going to sacrifice.
We don't trade lives.
Yep, we don't trade lives. And Vision throws that back in his face, like, well, you did 70 years ago, and. And Banner's like, well, he didn't have a choice. We might,
right,
if we can figure it out. And then that's when they basically decide to go to Wakanda.
Yep,
wordlessly.
Yeah,
Captain America's like, I know a place.
Yeah.
Well, that's when it cuts over and we get the scene. So it cuts to Wakanda. And that's where we see Black Panther bringing Bucky the arm.
Yeah, and Bucky just immediately looks at it and just goes, "Where's the fight?" Yeah, which is pretty awesome.
It's on its way.
Yeah, so he's got a nice vibranium arm now. I love vibranium's just everywhere now.
Well, they're in Wakanda.
Yeah, right. So it's just been showing up. It's cool though.
It'd be kind of crappy if they're like, "Here, it's made of bronze."
It'd be all heavy and stuff. This arm is the worst.
He's got like a steampunk arm. He's got to wind it up.
Steam shooting out of it. He's got a big clock on it for no reason.
Well, then we cut back to Thanos with Gamora.
Yeah.
And I love this scene because Thanos brings her like a cup of soup.
Yeah.
I just really like to imagine that Thanos like made it for her. So like I just like think of Thanos like she's gonna love. She always loved this when she was a kid.
This was her favorite soup.
Yeah.
I made it for her every night before bed. She tells him that she's always hated that chair because like the big throne's there, which was cool because that's the first time we ever saw Thanos was sitting on that throne, right? So
I love that he doesn't sit in it.
Yeah.
This time, he sits on the steps.
Yeah. And she's like, I always hated that chair, and he's like, so you've told me every night of your existence, basically, right? So he wants her to tell him where the Soul Stone is because he knows that she found it.
Yep.
Because that's what she was supposed to do, right?
Yeah, he doesn't reveal that he knows yet.
Right.
She was supposed to find it, so she insists that she didn't. And he said he never taught her how to lie, and that's why she's so bad.
Yeah. And that's when he brings her in to show her that he has Nebula and that he's basically torturing her.
Who snuck onto the ship, tried to kill them, and nearly succeeded. He said, I want to see that scene.
Oh, my God.
I really want to see that flashback,
I think I was telling you, I've become. I don't think Danny wasn't here for this. I've become such a Nebula fan.
She's awesome.
Like the end game trailers where it like you see a brief glimpse of her like suited up with the Avengers. Like that gets me so much more amped than anything else on those covers. I'm like, Nebula.
Yeah,
I don't even know why, man. But yeah, she's great. Anyway, so she's getting tortured.
And. Like that's where he reveals it because he plays back footage from Nebula's like robotic mind or eyeball or whatever it is. And
7 demon eye?
Yeah. Basically plays back a conversation that she had with Gamora. And so Gamora tells her in the thing that she found the map to the Soul Stone and she burned it so that Thanos could never find it. You could be all right.
I'm going to be all right, man. John, that's John's fault.
Yeah.
Oh, 7 demon eye.
He's had a Shazam callback. And a Big Trouble in Little China callback.
Sorry. Yeah, so we get to find out, and they're going to go get the Soul Stone.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was listening.
Well, yeah, because basically so Thanos is basically like, look, I know you know where it is.
Yep.
You got to tell me where it is or she's going to die right now. And Nebula's even kind of like, don't tell him.
Yep.
This hurts, but don't tell him.
Right.
And Gamora gives in, and she's like, I'll take you there. It's on this planet. I'll take you there. Well, he's like, show me, right? That's what he says. So they leave to go find the Soul Stone.
They leave to go find the Soul Stone, and then we get some more Thor and Rocket and Groot. I love that Groot is an elective on Asgard.
Yeah. Because Groot said, because he gives an I am Groot, and Thor responds.
Yeah.
And Rocket's like, you speak Groot? He's like, yeah, they taught it on Asgard.
You're right.
Elective.
That's so ridiculous. It's awesome.
But this is where they show up at Neverdelir. Is that how you say it?
They meet up with
Okay.
Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah. Well, because Rocket gives him the eye, and he puts it in, and he's like, there's something wrong here. I can't see anything. And then Rocket's like, nope, we just can't see anything. Everything's dark, And so they get on to the basically they're looking for a star.
Like rolling all around though.
Yeah.
It's like.
And this is a different eye than the one in Guardians 2.
Well, he tells him where he got it, right?
Yeah.
He explains it.
So the stars they're looking for a star. Basically, they forge these metal weapons out of from the power of a star, and they get there and the star's gone dormant. So they go on to the Iron Workshop, and they're looking around, and they get attacked by this giant dwarf.
Yeah.
Which is Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
And he's really mad, and he's attacking them, and Thor slows him down, and he realizes it's Thor, and then gets even madder. It seems, he's like, "You were supposed to protect us. Asgard was supposed to protect us." And Thor has to tell him that Asgard has been destroyed and figure out what's going on. And so basically you find out that Thanos came, I can't remember his character name, but the Forger...
Eitri.
Pardon?
Eitri.
The Forger here was tasked with creating something for Thanos, and he thought if he just gave him what he asked, he'd spare everybody, but he killed everybody anyway, and then melted this guy's hands in metal. So they can't move. As he said, your life is yours, but your hands are mine. Something real creepy.
Yeah.
And then Rocket finds the mold for the gauntlet. Yeah. Because the Eitri, I don't know why I can't.
I think that's what it is. We're probably saying it wrong, but it's close enough.
It sounds right. I
Tyrion
can't remember it for some reason, but he tells him Thanos wanted him to forge something that was strong enough to hold the Infinity Stones, and so you find the forge of the gauntlet itself, and so we know there's trouble there.
It wasn't the one on Asgard. That one was fake.
Yep, that one was fake.
Hella told us.
Fake. It's funny that they had one.
Yeah, right? I know, right?
This one, I get a little sketchy on when this scene ends, because a lot of these scenes start to get intercut. Yeah. So I know what happens over the all, but I don't remember when it starts and stops.
Right.
Well, because they're talking about, because Thor says he needs a weapon, and
he brings down the mold.
He brings down the mold because he calls it like a weapon.
Stormbreaker. He's like,
it's a weapon fit for a king, right?
Because Rocket's like, what are we gonna hit him with a brick or something? Yeah. Like that's a mold.
Yeah, it's a mold. It's a weapon fit for a king. Some say it might even be able to summon the Bifrost. Yeah. And then Thor asks him if it has a name, and he's like, Stormbreaker. And then Rocket's like, it's a bit much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then...
Because Nebula escapes at some point.
Yeah, Nebula escapes at some point.
Gets on a comm and communicates with Mantis, isn't it?
Yep.
And tells her she's got to get to Titan as soon as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, she tells the Guardians to go to meet her on Titan.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is why they show up there.
We gotta go to Vormir, get the Soul Stone.
This here?
Yep.
Yep. And this is where we run into one of our big reveals of the movie.
Yeah. We show up. We get to see Red Skull, which is I'm glad they did this just because it kind of ties more of this together a little bit. And we always had talked about how it didn't feel like Red Skull actually died when he picked up the Tesseract. It felt like he was teleported somewhere. And he kind of explains that here in this scene where he talks about how he sought the Tesseract for the power, but once he got a hold of it, it brought him here where he was basically forced to be this guide that would bring people to the Soul Stone or whatever it was, right? Like he's been basically just stuck in this place as the guide to the Soul Stone to watch people attempt to try to get it and fail every time, right? That's like his thing. So he's like stuck here now. And
ultimately, he says that you have to pay a price for it, and no one's been able to, and you have to sacrifice the thing you love most dearly in order to get that, because Gamora gets really happy.
Yeah.
Because she feels this great irony coming over how Thanos can't win now because he's never loved anything, and so everything's fine and it's no big deal, and she sees him crying and starts to make fun of him for it, which I don't know why. It's fine. People do that. It's not a big deal. But, she starts to realize that he's crying tears for a reason, and she realizes that he does have one thing that she never would have considered it love because she had to live on the other end of it.
Yeah.
But she realizes she's about to get thrown off this cliff.
She tries to stop him, and her weapon turns into bubbles. Thanos must love bubbles. He just keeps turning things into bubbles. And then he does it. He throws her off the cliff. And we get a Gamora death, which is really sad. And it's another one that I wonder, do you think this is going to stick? Like, this is going to drastically alter Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which we now know is a thing that's coming.
I mean...
so I'm going to say no on this one.
You think no on this one?
Yeah, I'm going no on this one.
Okay. So Gamora is dead. The Soul Stone is awarded to Thanos. He now has another stone. And that brings us back to Titan, right?
Yeah. He's got 4 now, right?
So he's got the Reality Stone, the Power Stone, the Soul Stone, and the Space Stone. Yep. He has 4 stones now, so he only needs
time and mind.
Time and mind. Yep. So this brings us back to Titan, where the Guardians show up and they attack the group that's there already.
Yep. One of my favorite scenes in the movie, which I can say about 11 different scenes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I just love when I'm a child, so when Stark cusses at Star-Lord, I'm like, that's the funniest scene in the whole movie. That's the funniest line.
Well, that whole thing when this is where Stark gets mad at Spider-Man, because Spider-Man comes in and is like, hey, I just want to say, if anything, like, like it lays eggs in me and they burst out of my stomach, I'm sorry, or something like that. He's like, no more pop culture references out of you for the rest of this trip. And Spider's like, I'm just trying to say that something's coming.
Right.
And then the Guardians bust in and we get this little fight back and forth there. And it ends with Quill holding Spider-Man at gunpoint, and Iron Man's got Drax at gunpoint. And he's telling Quill, you blast him and I'll blast your guy. And Drax is going, do it, Quill, I can take it. And they're all like, no, you can't.
Mantis goes, no, you can't. Do it, Quill, I can take it. And we totally skipped over the invisible Drax scene earlier, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was during that whole
Peter
and Gamora moment that they were having, where she told him that he might have to kill her. And they turn around and Drax is just standing there. And they're like, well, how long have you been standing there? And he just goes, hours. Really? I've mastered the ability of invisibility. Oh, my God.
But they so one of the notes on here, just to jump back real quick because I laughed about it. When they're coming into Titan, when Stark and Strange and Peter are coming into Titan, they've got the Maw ship.
Oh yeah,
and Peter and Stark are trying to steer it. They don't steer that thing at all. It just crashes into everything. Like they jump in there and Stark's trying to explain to him. He's like, okay, so this is made for like one really big guy, so we're gonna have to move in unison and turn it and try it, and it just crashes through everything. They don't even turn it a little bit, man.
But here we got Quill with the gun on Peter, And I don't remember what he says, but he says something that makes Strange stop and go, wait, time out. What master do you serve?
Yeah.
Because both teams think the other is with
working
Thanos.
with Thanos, right?
And so Quill goes, "What master do I serve? What am I supposed to say? Jesus?"
Yeah.
And then, that's when Tony goes, "Oh, he's from Earth."
Yeah, he's like, "Are you from Earth?" I'm not from Earth. I'm from Missouri.
Yeah,
that's on Earth.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's when he cusses at him.
Right.
Yeah. And then. It's when Peter's like, he's like, "Who are you guys?" And Peter's like, "We're the Avengers, man." And they're like, "Oh, you know Thor." And then everybody starts to kind of come to the realization.
Yeah.
That,
big guy, not that good looking, needed saving.
This isn't where we don't go right into the planning, do we? We skip to somewhere else.
We're gonna start skipping back and forth. We should probably just consolidate some of these.
Yeah, and that's fine. Yeah,
we're gonna start jumping.
Basically, on Titan here, they get together and they decide they're going to start working together because Thanos is coming, and so Stark's trying to lay out this plan, and
his plan sucks.
Nobody's listening to him.
Right.
He's like, "Are you yawning?" Because Drax is over there. Like,
are you yawning while I'm breaking it down?
Yeah, it's like I stopped listening. We have a plan. And he calls him Plucky. He's like, "Don't call us Plucky. We don't know what it means."
Yeah.
Right.
Peter's like, "Look, your plan's great, but why don't we let me do the plans? Because yours sucks and maybe mine will be good." And my favorite part there is when he starts to lay out the stuff they've done or whatever, and Drax is like, "Tell him about the dance fight to save the universe." And he's like, because Peter's even trying to like, no, that's not,
But doesn't he say Footloose?
No, Spider-Man goes, like in that movie, Footloose? And Peter gets so excited. He's like, yes, Footloose, is it still the greatest movie ever made? And Peter's like, it never was.
Yeah, it never was. So my favorite part of that scene is when, because he calls him, Stark calls Star-Lord Flash Rogers.
Yeah, Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Flash Gordon, by the way, that's a compliment." Yeah. And he says something else to him, and he's like, he calls him stupid or something, and he's like, "I'm half human, so if
the half of me
that's stupid, that's 100% you." And he's just like, "Your math is blowing my mind."
Gosh, this stuff is awesome.
But that's also where
it's nonstop.
Yeah. That's also where Doctor Strange is looking forward at 14 million.
Oh yeah.
Different.
Because they're like, "Does your friend always do that?" And they look over, and Strange is just like,
right,
basically going through realities in front of them.
Yep.
He's already watched Endgame 14 million times, guys. Yep. He's seen it. He knows
Presumably he only saw it once.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, because that's where he reveals to him that he's looked into the future 14 million times, and Tony says, "Well, how many of them did we win?" And he says, "Just one."
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy stuff right there. Obviously, the odds are not in their favor for this whole thing.
Just funny because you'd think he'd give them more information at that point.
Yeah, I don't know how all that's supposed to work though. With
I don't know. Time's weird.
Yeah, looking into the future stuff and how that works.
Well, we also don't know what he told them.
Yeah,
we don't know if he told them. I mean, we can assume. I mean, we probably should just go ahead and talk about when Thanos shows up.
Yeah.
So they put together their plan.
Yeah.
Right, and Thanos shows up, and their plan is about to work.
Yeah, their plan actually goes really well because they kind of nail Thanos really good, and I love it too because it's like one at a time. Another one comes out and does their part all the way through, and they basically get him to a point where he's like he's trapped by Doctor Strange's cloak and Spider-Man's webs, and Mantis gets on his head and is trying to put him to sleep, and they're wearing him down, and then Tony and Spider-Man are pulling the gauntlet off. Which is they're starting to get, and this whole scene's pretty awesome because they've almost got this gauntlet off, and that's when Peter
Quill
ruins it all by getting cocky, right? He shows up, he's cocky, he's talking about this being his plan, he gets all up in Thanos' face and talks a bunch of crap to him, then demands to know where Gamora is.
For the record, doesn't Nebula drive another spaceship into him?
Yes,
like that's just her entrance now.
She arrives and crashes him with the crash. Yeah, man. Such a great.
That's basically how she showed up in Guardians 2 also. Like, she was actually shooting at Gamora, but she was just like, I'm here with a spaceship now, and I'm going to crash it.
Yep. That's her thing.
Yeah, that's totally her thing.
Gamora has swords, and she has spaceships.
Yeah. So Thanos reveals, like, his Mantis starts saying that he's in anguish.
Yeah. He mourns.
He mourns. Yeah. And
where's Gamora? My Gamora.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
More cussing. Jaren loved it.
Yep, I did. Fan. Well, and it's actually Nebula who kind of
puts it together.
Yeah.
He has the Soul Stone. Gamora's dead. Basically, is kind of the realization that she comes to.
Yep.
And Peter totally loses it at this point because Tony's even like, Peter, you're like, Quill, you gotta hold it together. Back off. We've almost got this thing.
Yeah. Disengage.
Disengage. But Quill snaps and he hits Thanos, which kind of snaps Thanos out of it. It knocks Mantis off. And it's literally like, it's crazy because the gauntlet is coming off of his fingers.
Right.
But he comes to right at that moment where he's able to grab it and pull it away from Spider-Man. Oh my God, dude. It's like we were that close.
Man, it's just, and it's
well done.
So well done.
Yeah.
And it adds so much that Stark is going, don't back off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because how many times do they just play that scene straight where we're like, where we're sitting there going, Peter's going to screw it all up. You know what I mean? Like that scene would not have played as well if we just knew what had happened.
Right. Yeah.
But with Stark knowing what's going to happen too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going, don't do it. Don't back off. We almost got this thing off.
Yeah.
It adds, it makes it like it adds. Even though we know like what's coming, it just makes it tense. For sure.
And then we get the big fight when he's back to full power and he's going after all of them.
Spider-Man's
swinging around trying to save everybody. Thanos throws a moon at Iron Man at one point. Like everybody's going back and forth.
I love the wizard duel. The little wizard duel he has with.
That's good stuff.
And how Strange holds his own.
Yeah. They do some cool, and it's cool that he kind of fights him on his turn. He could have just zapped Drax and Star-Lord, you know what I mean? And Nebula, he just zapped them and they were done. But he sits here and has this little duel with Doctor Strange.
Well, the respect he has for the Alphas.
Yes.
Is awesome. And that whole scene with Stark is he gets into a one-on-one with Stark. And Stark's holding his own for a little bit going back. Not really doing any damage, but not dying yet.
Yeah.
So that says something.
Well, he basically, and that's why I think he wants to be stopped.
Yeah.
Because he fights everybody more or less on their terms.
Yeah.
He beats them all, but he fights them all on their terms.
Yep. But he gets to that point where he basically, snaps off part of the armor and stabs Stark with it through a part of the nanotech that's not through. Very reminiscent of Black Panther there, too.
Yeah.
Much like that scene where Killmonger gets stabbed through the suit while it's not working.
Totally.
But I would tell you the first time I saw that, when that happened, I thought Stark was done.
Yeah.
Because at this point in the movie, I'm like, they're gonna. I didn't know exactly how the end was going to play out, and so I assumed we were going to lose some big names somewhere in this one.
Right.
And I was like, man, they just knocked out the big dog right there. That because he kind of backs down, but again, you get Thanos almost paying homage to him. Because he somewhere during the fight he mentions him by name, and Tony's like, "You know me?" He's like, "You're not the only one cursed with knowledge." Yeah. And he tells him here. When all is said and done, half of your people are still going to exist, and I hope they remember you. And it's I'm getting chills quoting it here.
That's good
it's
stuff.
So intense, and I think he's going to finally put the death blow on when Strange stops him.
Yeah,
Strange comes to and says, "Don't," and he's like, "If you spare him, I'll just give you the stone." And Thanos even said, "No tricks, no tricks," and then believes him. Because again, it's the. Thanos really comes off as a pretty good guy, other than
all the murder,
wanting to kill everyone. And so they make that arrangement there, and Tony's like, "No, don't do that." Which goes against everything Strange has said to this point of the movie. because he has said over and over again, I don't care if you die, I don't care if the kid dies, I don't care who dies, I will protect this stone.
Right.
And he just hands it over instead just to save Tony. And this is where he gives the endgame line?
Well, yeah, because he hands it over to Thanos, and Thanos puts it in the gauntlet, and then Thanos leaves.
Yeah.
Which I thought it was super cool. They had all the scars on his hands.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? And like there was so much with his hands there. And I don't remember specifically noticing it in any other scene. I'm sure it was there.
Yeah.
But there's such a, as he's handing over the Soul Stone, I just think it's cool that they made sure to put all the scars on his hands from.
From the surgery. Yeah. So Thanos gets that stone. He puts it in the gauntlet. We get his power up moment.
Yep.
He leaves because he's off to get the final
and
one
then
now.
Because we've got two great lines there. Because there's the point where Quill's just like, "What did we just lose?"
Yeah.
You know, and that hits you so hard because you like, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and we as the audience are coming to grips with that at the same time Quill is, I think, or the team or whatever. And then I think that's where you get Doctor Strange.
Well, because Tony questions him.
He's like, "Why? Why would you do that?" And you know, Tony and Strange just says, "We're in the end game now." I was like, "I had to. We're in the end game now."
The only way.
Yeah, it was the only way.
Which obviously plays into the vision that he saw, right?
Yep.
Tony had to survive for a reason.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty cool stuff.
Thanos had to get the time stone for a reason.
Maybe, yeah. But I don't know. The fact that he specifically told him to spare Tony makes me think that Tony has to be part of the success that he saw in the one time they won. So that's the way I take that. So that we'll just cut back to Wakanda now.
Yep. So now we're back on Earth.
They are all preparing for the war to come to them.
Actually, we need to
go back to Thor first.
Yeah, we'll just cut to Thor real quick.
Okay.
Because they restart Nevadelir.
Yeah.
And forge a new hammer.
Yeah.
Or an axe. Forges the axe.
Yeah.
But this is as that great. So I'm going to nitpick one thing and point out just how weak their kind of hand waving to restart the star is. Because so they are going to pull the rings and get the rings moving again with Rocket's pod. And Rocket says right away, like, my pod's not strong enough to do this.
Yeah.
And Thor's like, no, it's cool, I got it. And then he kind of throws the pod like a hammer.
Like Mjolnir. Yeah.
Right.
He does the swirl and then the...
Yeah. But then that doesn't work. But then the pod, because he keeps having to go, more power. So then it is the pod that does it. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of, every time I watch that, I'm just kind of like, I'll take it because I love this movie. But that's weak, guys.
Yeah.
That's weak.
Well, then they get the star going again, and as soon as they get the star going again, they go to start the forge, and then the forge part breaks.
Right.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So he's got to. So Thor's basically like, I'm just going to go hold it open. That's fine.
Yeah.
And
it'll kill you.
Yeah, the forger goes, that's suicide, it'll kill you. And Thor goes,
only if I die.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what killing you means. That might be my favorite. Legit might be my favorite line in the movie.
Thor is the best, dude. Oh my god.
But he goes, he gets up there right in the middle of that thing, holds it open, lets that power of the star blast through him.
Yep.
The forge is open long enough to form the Stormbreaker.
Yep.
Which is kind of where Groot gets his hero moment a little bit too, because
Groot's been doing nothing but playing video games this whole movie.
And Thor's been depowered by taking all this blast, and he's about to die, and so they're checking on him, and
they can't find the handle.
He can't find the handle.
Forger's telling him he needs the axe. Where's the handle? Tree, help me find the handle. Or I don't know if he calls him Tree,
he does.
But Tree, help me find the handle, and Groot basically grows a handle by himself, cuts his own arm off, which clearly hurts him.
Yeah.
But he's formed it around this thing. Also, he's technically sort of wielded this now.
Yeah, right. He picked it up. I kind of noticed that too. I was like, how did he pick
I don't know if it's got
up?
the same Mjolnir
issues
that other things do, but I thought that was neat one way or the other. But they get the hammer to him. Now we can go to Wakanda part.
Now we're in Wakanda.
Yeah.
And everybody's showing up.
Showing up.
And,
so they got the big force field around Wakanda, and all the forces are coming right outside of it there.
I like when everybody's first just showing up there before we get to the actual fight, because they could do that part where, Banner's like, oh, this is the king, what do we have to kneel or anything? And War Machine's like, yeah, of course, And so they get out of the ship, and Banner goes to kneel, and War Machine just goes, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And Black Panther's like, "We don't do that here."
But then we run into Shuri, who's given basically just making fun of Banner for not putting Vision together right.
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't you do... I can't think of the technical terms.
Yeah,
It's like, why didn't you do all this stuff to put it in there? And Banner's like, because we didn't think of it.
Yeah.
You know? And so she's basically says, yeah, we can remove it, but it's going to take a while. And right when they figure out it's going to take a while is when all these other ships start showing up and the fight is on. So they split off. They leave Wanda with Vision and Shuri so she can work on pulling that stone out. And they all go with all the other tribes, including the Mountain Tribe, and everybody shows up.
Yep, that's good
and
stuff.
And they go to fend off the front lines.
Yep. This is pretty crazy too because like it's Proxima Midnight and Cole Obsidian here, right?
Right.
And
it's only Proxima.
And Cole
Not
Obsidian.
right here.
Yeah,
because they. That's the big one. Never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking that was
Shut
the
up,
little
John.
one. Okay, I'm out.
They're just kind of standing there at the end, and then that's when all those crazy dog monster things show up.
We've got blood to spare.
Blood to spare.
Well, they make reference to the other guy, though, whose name I clearly can't remember.
Corvus Blade.
Yeah, because Widow asks about him, and she basically says, "You'll pay for his life with yours," insinuating that he's died also.
Yeah.
From his wounds.
So the dog monsters show up, and it's crazy because they just are pushing themselves through the force field and just like killing themselves in the process.
Some of them are getting cut in half.
Trying
some of them
to
are
get
getting all their
through.
skin burned off.
Yeah, and so they're just obviously these mindless beasts.
Yep.
But they get to the part where they're starting to break through and everything, but they're also starting to run around the perimeters, and they kind of come to that realization. They're just like, if they get behind us and then the shield goes down, we're screwed because then they're behind us, and that's when Panther's like, well, the only thing to do is make sure they don't get behind us, and he tells them to just lower the shields. Let's just do this. Let's just fight them head on. So that's what we do. They lower the shields, and we just charge into battle head on, and they just go into fight with these things, which is amazing.
Yep. Which they go through for a while, and it starts not going very well.
Yep.
Right.
And again, a lot of this stuff we're cutting back and forth on in the movie. So we get to a point where this battle isn't going well, and then we cut back to Thor needing that axe and getting that axe, and then all of a sudden we get the Thor arrival.
Yes.
Which is the big hero moment there, which is another one that just gives
it's
me
another
chills
big
every
one,
time
man.
he shows
Yeah,
up.
because they're kind of losing that fight, and then all of a sudden the Bifrost opens, and the Stormbreaker comes down first and just destroys everything, and then Thor comes down with the lightning going and everything again, and you're just like, oh my god, there it is.
I just wish that
we need that Led Zeppelin song right here.
I wish Immigrant Song had started playing. I'd have gotten out of my seat, and I might not have sat back down at any point.
It was amazing. He shows up,
and Banner gets so happy.
Yeah,
he's in the Hulkbuster armor because he can't get the Hulk out, so he's just piloting that, and he just starts laughing. He's like, "You guys are so screwed now."
That's so great.
So good.
But Thor does too. Thor wrecks everybody at this point. It's just, he goes full Thor mode. It's awesome, man. I love it. Rockets blasting everybody. We get oh man,
Rocket and Bucky.
That great little exchange where Thor and Captain America see each other, and he's like, hey, I see you've copied my beard.
Cut your hair.
Yeah,
I see you've copied my beard.
Yeah. This is my friend a tree.
I am Steve Rogers.
I am Groot.
I am Groot. I am Steve Rogers. That's good stuff. And then the Rocket and Bucky stuff is good too.
How much for the gun? It's not for sale. How much for the arm? He just walks away. He's like, I'll get that arm.
I'll get that arm.
Dude, I really hope at the end of Endgame, assuming everybody's all right and everybody kind of splits back up and goes their separate way, one of the end scenes is Bucky waking up and he can't find his arm.
Because they could just make him another.
Totally.
I like how, with all the stuff they've seen, nothing should surprise them anyway, but, Bucky doesn't even hesitate in the middle of this fight to stop and go, is that a raccoon with a machine gun? He just picks him up and starts swirling him around.
So I guess that would cut us back to where Vision is getting worked on, right? Because this is the real reveal.
Well,
that,
because they call Wanda out.
Yeah, oh, that's right.
Because Wanda's looking out and seeing them start to lose and whatever.
Well, the big machines show up, and she goes out on her own.
Yeah.
Right. Because those big things come through, and there's like a ton of them, and they come charging in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she goes out there and then just wrecks those without even...
Why is she up there all this time?
Yeah. Because just like, seriously, she just shows up, and all of those things are done.
Yeah.
Like in one blow, she just gets rid of those things.
Well, and we have that fun, like that all-female fight.
The chick fight
moment.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Seems like a derogatory way to say it.
I know, but it's
I wasn't
awesome.
going to call him out on it.
No, but it's awesome. It's awesome because Proxima Midnight comes in to fight Scarlet Witch, right?
Yeah.
And then Black Widow and why can't I never remember her name?
Okoye?
Okoye.
Yeah,
Okoye. Both show up and just it's awesome. It's
Yeah.
so awesome. I love it. I get excited every time I see that part.
And then
It's a good
they take out Proxima Midnight there, or Proxima,
Proxima Midnight. Yep.
with one of those giant machines. Which basically just throws her up in the air and has her plowed by one, and she kind of splatters everywhere.
Yeah.
A little bit of goo on Black Widow. She's like, it's so gross.
Yeah. But now that Scarlet Witch is down on the field, that leaves Vision open for attack. And this is the reveal that Corvus
The other
Glaive
guy,
was
yeah.
actually
That guy,
alive the whole time. Yep.
Good.
He was
you can
alive.
talk again now, John.
He was alive the
Yay.
whole time, and he's here to finish off Vision this time and get that stone. So they end up fighting, and Vision fights to the outside because Shuri's trying to hurry up, right? She's almost done, but doesn't get there.
Yeah.
Doesn't get there.
I mean, she said from the get-go it would take a long time, and
Right.
they basically gave her 20 minutes. You know?
Right.
How long can you give me? Oh, nope.
Yeah.
None. 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
So they bust. It's him and Vision bust out of that place fighting. Kind of land there, still going through that fight. He gives him that speech because he stabs him again, and he's like, I thought you'd be a formidable foe, but you're dying as easy as any man. And that's when
Cap shows up and fights him.
Yep.
And then Vision kills him.
Yep.
The only thing Vision does in the whole movie other than lay there and whine. Stabs Corvus Blade.
Right. Stabs him.
I think it's all snarky with Cap.
Yeah.
We don't trade lives, Captain.
Vision performed a very important act early in this movie when he made you want to go watch Wimbledon.
Very true.
There you go.
Very
there
true.
You go. So it's about this point that they think they've won, but this is where Thanos shows up.
And Thanos shows up.
Thanos comes.
Man.
Because at some point here, too, we had the big fight between Hulkbuster and the...
And Cole
Obsidian.
Cole
and
Obsidian.
Cole Obsidian, yeah.
Yeah, because this was the scene where Banner goes, Hulk, I know you like showing up at the last minute, and this would be the last of the minutes or whatever. And then Hulk still is just like, no! Like he shows up again and says no, and he's just... Because that's when he was like, screw you, I'll do it myself.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Rex Cole Obsidian with the Hulkbuster.
Yeah. Because Cole Obsidian breaks that arm off, and he basically just puts the gauntlet on him and sends the rockets off, and he just flies up into the force field until he explodes.
Yeah. That's good stuff, too. So Thanos is here now.
All these guys had cool death scenes.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, all these guys could have been their own movie.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like these are all, like, the Obsidian Order could have been its own movie. We didn't even need Thanos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there for sure, just like, each individually was a cool villain.
Yeah.
So they all had cool death scenes. But I love the scene because now Thanos is here, and man, I love the way they handle it because before he even arrives, everybody's going, "This is it. Something's happening. What's coming?
Yeah.
Eyes up. Everybody. I need Cap even says like, I need everybody here now.
Yeah.
And Thanos isn't even there yet.
Yeah.
And I just love that moment. And then he comes, and then he just is walking through everybody, man.
Yeah, man, nobody even has a chance. I do love that quick moment too, though, like because it's all slow mo at this point, right? Where he's wrecking everybody, but we get that great face off with Cap and Thanos.
Yeah.
Because it's Cap stands up to him, and they're doing that fight. That's a great scene. Just that shot where they pull away too with those two fighting each other. And while all this is going on, Scarlet Witch is trying to destroy the stone inside. Like she's finally been talked into. Yeah. This is the only way, and she's gonna destroy the stone that's in Vision's head.
Yeah,
and
we'll point out we continuously just get reminded of how incredibly powerful she is.
Yeah.
Because at that point, or after Thanos has wrecked everybody, and she hasn't quite destroyed the stone yet, and then we get that moment where she's about to destroy it with one hand and holding him back with the other.
Yeah.
He's just mowed through everybody, and she's one-handed, slowing him down at least. Which slowing him down is impressive at that point.
Right, exactly. So right as he's getting to her, she succeeds, and she shatters the Mind Stone. And Vision falls over lifeless at that point.
Yeah, now he explodes.
Oh, he explodes. He explodes with the Mind Stone.
Yep.
It's I'm thinking ahead.
Yep.
And so they think that that's it at this point. But I love this little monologue that Thanos gives here too, because this is one of those times where he basically tells her that he understands her pain and he can relate to the way she feels, and he's lost a lot too or whatever, and she basically is just like, you don't understand. Get out of here, bro. You don't understand what I'm feeling right now.
Well, it's and that's an interesting little thing too, to throw that in there, because we don't often see that kind of we don't often explore that kind of bias that the evil character is unfeeling. You know what I mean? The evil character doesn't care about anything. The evil character only is evil, right? And so we've kind of gotten to see Thanos react to all his friends dying. Like when he's on Titan, and he's kind of like, so I guess the Maw is dead. Yeah. Of course there's the scene where he throws Gamora to her death. So we've seen him feel a little bit. So it's kind of interesting at that moment when, because normally we'd be just on the side of the good guys going, yeah, this jerk, he doesn't know, you're just trying to be smart right now. No, shut up. You don't feel anything.
Right.
But we've gotten to see Thanos feel stuff here.
Yeah.
So there's kind of that moment where she's like, you couldn't know what it's like. And we're like, well, actually Scarlet Witch.
He kind of does.
Yeah.
We saw it.
Yeah.
We saw that he knows. I also like, too, how, she just blew that Infinity Stone up in front of him, and he didn't react at all. He stayed pretty calm about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because he already knows.
Yeah.
He knows what he's going to do here, right?
Yep.
And it's neat how he activates the Time Stone, and it does the whole, the same kind of Doctor Strange stuff. He uses it the same way we always saw Doctor Strange use it, where he even turns his hand to rewind Vision specifically, and we just see Vision rewind, come back together, and the Mind Stone form is back together, and as soon as it does, he just grabs it with his fingers and pries it out of his head.
Yep.
It's
just crushes the front of his
oh my
skull.
God, amazing. It is so amazing.
It's crushing. It's crushing, man. I'm feeling it at this point.
Right. Vision falls over. That's where Vision falls over, just black and white, lifeless.
Yep.
And he takes that last stone and he puts it in, and we get the power up, and now it's just oh, this can't be good, right?
Yep.
You do. You feel it. He has succeeded in his mission. He now has the power of every Infinity Stone in his gauntlet.
And then we get the Stormbreaker.
And then Stormbreaker flies in.
Well, first the lightning blast. He gets just blown back by lightning because he fires at Thor, and Thor throws Stormbreaker, and Stormbreaker just cuts through the full force of all 5 Infinity Stones.
Right.
And Stormbreaker just blows through all of that and embeds itself in Thanos' chest.
Yeah, this was awesome, too.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things where you're just kind of like, oh my God, what?
Yeah.
You kind of get on the edge of your seat and you're like, no, what?
Yeah.
And because Thor comes flying straight up there and even shoves it in further.
Yeah. I told you were going to die for that.
Yeah, I told you would die for that. Yeah, talking about Loki's death, which is amazing.
We glanced over that line from earlier, too, when Thor was, when Rocket was telling Thor, you probably can't take Thanos. Yeah. He was like, well, he's done all this. And Thor's like, he's never fought me. Yeah, he has. Well, he's never fought me twice.
Yeah. So he's shoving the axe into Thanos' chest, and Thanos is dying here. You see it.
Yeah.
Thanos is having a hard time talking. He's falling down. But he kind of is able to mumble out the words, "You should have gone for the head." And then right at that moment, he raises up and he snaps his fingers. And you see this big burst go out. And I love it, too, because, everybody's... Thor's reaction immediately is, what did you do? Yeah. What did you just do?
Well, first he goes and talks to baby Gamora.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. We get that little like
cost?
scene. Yeah. Everything.
Yeah.
Which is one of my absolute favorite memes. Now, like, have you guys seen those come through? Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff where it'll be, it'll be goofy stuff. I can't even think of a specific one, but he'll be like, I got a sandwich. And she'll be like, what did it cost? And he'll be like, $4.99. Like for like Subway stuff or something like that, Like, every time somebody sends me one, I die.
That's amazing. Yep. So, he pulls away and falls through a portal.
Yep. Runs away.
This is where everybody starts dusting.
Everybody dusts.
We start losing all kinds of people at this point. We see Winter Soldier is one of the first ones that falls to dust right in front of Steve.
Yeah, Black Panther
goes down. Bucky goes down. Falcon goes down.
Yep.
Groot goes down right in front of Rocket, which is
not again.
It's horrible. Oh my god. Then we cut back.
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch went down. They showed the field of Wakanda and people just disappearing everywhere throughout the field there.
Cut back to Titan.
We cut back to Titan, and this is where we see basically the Guardians go out one by one, right? Yep. It's like Mantis and Drax, and then Quill goes out.
All of them get wiped.
Dude, all of them.
Like Rocket and
Strange, Stephen Strange.
Yep. Strange goes. Like he almost knew that this was happening.
Yeah. Didn't he say something else there again? Like it was like the only way or something like that?
Well, I think that's where they had that conversation.
Oh, is it?
We're in the end game now. Yeah. Okay. And that, like he looked like he knew this was coming.
Yeah. And then the Heartbreaker.
Then the Heartbreaker is Spider-Man, and no, it gets me every time, dude. Every time, it kills me.
Yeah.
The end of this movie is hard to watch, and it doesn't even matter how many times I've seen this movie. I sit there fighting back tears, like I'm about to just break down and start crying over all my favorite superheroes dying. Yeah. It's insane.
See, I'm gonna complain about the Spider-Man one because it doesn't.
I know you are.
Yeah, I think it's weak, man. I think it's a little.
I think you're in the minority.
I think I am too, but I'm going to be heard because I have a podcast and you don't. It's just a little too blatantly like heartstring tugging because everybody else vanishes before they get more than a sentence out.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man gets to like stumble around and fall and beg Stark and apologize and say he doesn't want to go. Like, come on, guys. Like, if everybody, like, what took him so long? You know what I mean? So it doesn't work. It's too blatant. It doesn't work for me. I'm far more affected by...
It's because of the spider sense. He had more warning.
I don't think that's how it works.
He knew it was coming. He knew it was coming, so he was able to react to it a little bit first.
I don't think that's how it works, But I'm far more affected by like Bucky, when Cap watches his best friend.
That was rough
before anybody even knows what's going on. Like he's dust and gone, and Cap's just like, "What was that?"
I just lost Bucky again. Yeah, it's rough though. All of it's rough. It's all this is basically the end of the movie here. Like everybody's dying, and we kind of end with that scene of Thanos basically watching the sun rise
over a grateful universe,
which is what he said he was going to do once this was all said and done. And that's where the movie just ends on this very somber note.
The hero wins.
The hero wins.
Triumph.
It's an amazing ending. It's a powerful ending. God, man, I just remember that movie. Like the credits start rolling, and like all of us sat in that theater. That theater was
silent.
Yeah, silent. Like nobody, like everybody was experiencing these emotions. Nobody really knew how to react to that. Man. We're all so used to like applauding at the end of these movies, or like the theater is usually so excited, and here we all. I mean, everybody's sitting there basically crying in this movie theater, right? Because everybody's just like, what? What did we just watch? Like, what just happened here? What was that? And it's one of those things, too, where it's like going into this, knowing that it was kind of like a two-parter, it's like you kind of felt like this couldn't have ended well, right? Like, it's almost like we had this idea going in that Thanos was probably going to get those stones. Yeah. Things were probably not going to go well.
I don't remember knowing what to expect,
I don't know. Like, this was definitely more intense than I expected, for sure.
I never thought we would go this far.
Yeah.
I absolutely... I agree. I absolutely thought that they would decide snapping half of life out of existence in the universe would be too high concept for like a summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I didn't think there was any way a studio would let that go to theaters.
Right.
I just did not. Man, was I wrong.
Right.
Right,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I loved it. I've always been on Thanos' side. I've always said...
You're a heel, Mark.
Yes, I am. But B, man, I've always said I'll flip my coin. I'll take my chances.
And see if you survive the half of the universe.
I mean,
he brought balance to the universe.
Yeah, balance. That's what
everybody. That's
now
what Vader
there's
was
enough.
Do.
Now there's. Yes.
You just want to balance of the force, right?
Yeah. Balance of the force. That's different. Okay.
Now there's enough. I mean, Gamora's home planet is nothing but clear skies and full bellies. I want that.
I guess we should talk about the mid-credit scene here too, where we see basically this happening all across New York at this point. Like helicopters are falling out of the sky, cars are crashing, people are dusting all over the place.
It's the only one, right?
Yeah,
I think this is
the very end.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This is the very end. Things are happening all over the place. We see Fury and.
Maria Hill, I think.
Maria Hill. Yeah, Robin Sparkles. Robin Sparkles and Nick Fury are driving around.
This one too, like the timeline seems weird here because immediately she's like, "Hey, we got multiple bogeys over Wakanda," and then everyone's automatically dusting.
Yeah. I just took that to mean like the reports were coming in late.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah,
fine with it. Just
agreeing with you, but just saying.
Yeah,
let's not. I mean, what are we here to nitpick? Come on, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was the whole point.
So Maria Hill gets dusted.
Yep.
Fury freaks out, runs to the back of his car, pulls out this fancy pager, hits the button, and then gets to say "mother" right as he's dusting. And then that's
he was just going to say flirkin'.
Yeah, that's all I was going to say. Flirkin'. Pager hits the ground and the Captain Marvel symbol shows up, and that's our teaser for Captain Marvel film. So that was kind of neat. So
this was pretty good.
This was pretty darn good. It's intense. It's emotional. One of the things I just love about this movie so much is the way they were able to take this decades worth of characters and storyline and everything, and they made it all just fit together so well. I mean, this is the biggest crossover we've seen throughout all these movies, and we've seen all these characters that we've come to know and
any
love.
Movies or any TV
that's
or
true.
anything,
yeah. But
there are comic book crossover storylines that aren't this big.
Yeah. The way that everything came together in this movie and just felt so natural and it fit, and the way we got to see these almost like dream character interactions at this point of getting to know these characters throughout, it's so amazingly impressive to me and is just proof positive how Marvel just gets it. They know what they're doing. It's just amazing to watch their entire plan come together like this.
Well, I remember unbelievable. The counts going into this. Like there were people I remember seeing news articles, and I don't remember the number, but it was like 64 characters or something insane. Like they were putting together all the named heroes that were in this movie. And then to sit down and watch it, and 2.5 hours is a decent chunk of movie, but it's not absurd by any means. And everyone gets their moment. Yep. Several. Everyone has a place in this movie. I mean, even Mantis is important here.
Yeah.
Right.
And gets her moment, gets her lines, she gets a laugh, she does an important thing. Like, they all get their spots. To plug all of that into 2.5 hours and make it in any way, shape, or form coherent is absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And to make it this emotionally heavy on top of that is, oof.
Yeah. They also pulled it all together and told one story.
Yep. Yeah.
It didn't feel disjointed. It didn't feel like, well, what were they doing here? Why did they do this? Where did this go? What was the point of all that? I compare it. I think of the best comparison is, like a lot of those disaster movies, Day After Tomorrow, 2012, because those always have big casts, in different locations so we can see how the disaster affects different parts of the world, right?
Yeah.
And then it all kind of, sometimes it all flows together. But, you know, I've never watched one of those and not been like, hey, remember when they just randomly went and did this thing so we could watch this monument fall down? You know what I mean? Like, and that happened several times in those movies.
Yeah.
You know, now that's the point of those movies. I'm not calling those movies out. But you know, this all came together. There was nothing like that. This all came together. It all told one story, and it all coalesced in the end, and all came together.
Totally. All right, do you have a rating for this one?
Man, it gets 6 Infinity Stones.
Ooh, I like it. That's awesome.
Why wouldn't it?
Why wouldn't it? All right, any final thoughts on Infinity War? Did we cap that off pretty good there?
I think we got it.
Excellent.
And just under the actual runtime of the movie.
We did.
We can go another 30 if you guys want.
Oof.
No, I don't want to.
Oof. All right, guys. Well, we are getting close. We are getting so close to Endgame to see how this all ends, essentially. Well, we've got a couple more movies to talk about still, so make sure you guys are subscribed and are following the podcast. We are available on several different platforms, including a video version on YouTube. Just do a search for Geek Easy Podcast and hit that subscribe button. The audio version can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, Podbean, or any of your preferred podcasting apps. So follow us, rate us, review us, all that good stuff, and stay tuned because more Marvel Good Yay is on the way.
2 hours of Ant-Man and Wasp tomorrow.
No.
2 hours for Ant-Man and Wasp? All right.
We set the bar, right?
No.
The Geek Easy Podcast is a production of PixelDan.com. Musical tracks used in the intro and outro are used with full permission of the respective owners or creators. Intro and outro narrations are provided by me, Brian T. Stevenson. PixelDan.com's The Geek Easy Podcast is provided for entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those solely of the hosts or guests and do not necessarily represent those of PixelDan.com or any other party. Be sure to join us next time for another installment of the Geek Easy Podcast.